Alright, ladies and gentlemen, and odd that is not picking up. What is going on there? Alright, give it just a second. Hey, there we go, we are up. G'day stream, how's it going? Welcome to everybody who just jumped over from Twitch, watching us battle around and blow shit up in Battle Mechs in MechWarrior 5. A little bit too early in the night to end things as they were, because it's only just past midnight on this end, so I figured we'd do a couple of hours of BattleTech and see about working over the next planet. And again, sorry for the delay starting the stream, but after the previous stream on Twitch, I needed to grab a coffee. Coffee already here, Chasing McLeod. So that's how it works, pops the chat window out. You can do that here? I have to double check. Oh god, shut up Bradford playing XCOM 2 while watching the stream. Hey, there's nothing wrong with playing. I haven't played XCOM 2 in a while. I really need to actually give that one a shot since I'm doing the turn-based stuff a lot anyways. John Fox, hey Mags, hope your stream goes well. Love watching as always. Have fun, buddy. Yeah, will do, mate. That's one I haven't tried. XCOM, you should absolutely try XCOM. The original XCOMs are fantastic. Even all the way up to XCOM Apocalypse, which I know some people were a little bit fiddly on back in the day. And then the two remakes are actually pretty good as well. The first one, yeah, XCOM and XCOM 2 are both kind of great. There's some really good missions in the original XCOM, and I do have a real soft spot for that one. Particularly the fisherman's, the fishing town mission is one of the earlier ones you run into. I think most people that have played it will know exactly which one I'm talking about. That's a fantastic one. Only issue I had with XCOM 2 is it was somewhat is an understatement, buggy on release, particularly when the expansions came out, and it had a whole host of problems. Although it's not the only game I can think of that has had problems like that, so I suppose I can't hold it too much against it. Int and BattleTech are two of my favourite turn-based games. My current run is modded, but unfortunately I've discovered Bradford is load-bearing code, and if you shut him up, it breaks the game. Okay, I'll keep that in mind if I end up modding through mine. I haven't really ever done anything too much with my XCOMs. Threw some extra armor and some extra appearance packs in there. As I think I mentioned on a previous stream, I used to, there was a mod that used to allow you to actually have the Stargate SG-1 uniforms, and so I used to set my my XCOM teams up as SG-1 teams. Rainmaker, damn Mags, my sleep schedule? Man, it's after midnight and I'm starting up here. How do you think my sleep schedule is? Remember, I'm out of bed at 7 o'clock in the morning whether I like it or not, because I've got kids who don't understand the word no, and who are on school holidays at the moment, and want daddy to do things. So, yeah, don't worry, you'll learn to live on 3 hours sleep. It's fine. No, I don't recommend that. That's just me being an idiot in what I do. You shouldn't. Time for some more mags after midnight. Let's see how long I stay awake for this one. Well, yeah, worst comes to worst, you fall asleep and you watch it later, and you at least get some decent sleep. Rainmaker, 10 PM. God, still early, man. Still early. Buster McLean, Psyfreakster on Twitch. Howdy again. I'm glad you can jump over and join this one. Mags, they ported the Fisherman's Map into Mech XCOM 2. Oh, really? Oh, I haven't seen that yet, but oh, that's nice. That is that mission is true horror. The first time you run through it, if you've never played XCOM before, actually I shouldn't even mention what the map is, but it's the first moment of horror that pops up in XCOM. I wish they built more missions like that one, because that one is. Although I'm really hoping that the new XCOM 3 that they end up making, because let's face it, they are going to end up making an XCOM 3, I'm hoping they base it on Terror of the Deep. Let us have a multi-base XCOM in the Terror from the Deep style. Let's do that. Like, that should be the next one. Alright, so, where were we up to? We had just arrived at a new planet. We are on Randar in the Capellan Confederation. All of our mechs are set up. We're 12 days out of financials, so we have to make some money. We're down to 1.4 million, and we need to get ourselves a nice contract. Now, there wasn't too many missions here, but they all paid decently, and they were decent missions in general. So Duo Duel, the Capellans were only wanting to go after pirates, which I'm not actually against doing for them. And Mopping Up, Two Skull Battle, Federated Suns. Against Krita, as I recall. No. No, it's against the Pirate Lance. No, we'll start off with this one. We'll start off with the Two Skull. We'll take our best pilots and our best mechs, and we'll see what we can get. We've still got 12 days out. I'm going to run a 2.8 configuration at 210. That should allow us to at least take 100,000 off the battlefield once drop expenditures have been calculated. So yeah, the Shadowhawk, Lead Spitter and Firestarter. We're running Claymore, Cerberus. Beach Ball is still in. Now, at the end of the last one, we did lose a pilot, but we also picked up a new one by the name of Apex, who is an incredibly good pilot, incredibly good in regards to gunnery. Pretty crap pilot, pretty crap tactician. We're going to have to really boost those tac skills, because that's what's going to bonus his get his aim shot bonuses up. And we really want him to get his piloting up as well. We don't really have a mech for him at the moment. If I could get a Hunchback, I think it would be perfect for him. But we'll have to see what we can find. I think we'll go with Phantom in the Firestarter, and we'll get both of our recon pilots out and training. And that will be the configuration we are using now. Yep, we'll run with that. We will run with that. Deploying. 9:30 AM on a Monday morning here. I knew I'd catch somebody in the morning. Yeah, I'd love that. Yeah, I assume that'll be a Terror from the Deep. Yeah, it's still the best XCOM. And allow us one where we can build multiple bases and pick where those bases are. Because one of the beautiful parts about Terror from the Deep that really isn't reflected... XCOM 2 kind of does it a little bit, but not really. Because you always have to win whenever your main ship in XCOM 2 is attacked, because it's your only base. In Terror from the Deep, you have multiple bases, and you will get alien incursions in bases, and it is entirely possible to lose a base. But it's not game ending, because you will have multiple, or it's not game ending unless it is your last base remaining. So the aliens will attack, and they will breach your bases, and how you actually assemble your bases from the modules will change how many entry points they potentially have, and each entry point is a potential spawn point for the aliens. This also means you need to manage garrisons, so it's not just managing XCOM teams to deploy into the field, you also need to manage defensive teams in each of the bases, so if a base is attacked, you have a standard defense force available that's actually capable of holding the base or potentially saving the base. And this is a whole aspect that is essentially missing from all modern XCOM games. It doesn't exist in XCOM, it doesn't exist in XCOM 2, the remakes. I think they need to reincorporate that, because that was a pretty major aspect of Terror from the Deep, and part of what makes it such a difficult game, frankly. Like, it's not just you going after the aliens. The aliens will go after you. Quite aggressively sometimes, in fact.
I'm there.
The devil comes, oh hi. So I didn't hear what you said. I was saying to DM and did ask on Discord. Anyway, thanks for coming back. I did say I was going to be popping back through. It's too early to end for the night. Bog needed to go off and do a few things, and so did Dick. And Dead Meat's heading off to bed because he's got a fairly early start in the morning. So I figured do an hour or two of BattleTech over here. We should be able to clear out a couple of missions. Alright, so I'm not actually going to reveal myself just yet. We'll bring Lead Spitter up behind this small hill. And let's sensor lock these targets, because we've got 2 sensor locks available to us. Alright, so we have a Crusader. That's interesting. I think we've got some parts of a Crusader floating around. Keep that in mind. Let's bring Phantom up.
Commander.
And he can lock the other one.
Got a lock.
Second mech is a Hunchback. Alright, so we've got some decent tonnage we're going to have to deal with here. Only 2 mechs visible at the moment. Alright, so Crusader is in the tree line, only 1 evasion on the Hunchback. It might be worth risky,
No.
but it might be worth if we... Sorry, just trying to work out my angles here. That's probably going to be the best move, because that still blocks the Crusader's line of sight. Only exposes the Wolverine to the Hunchback.
Moving to position.
Fire off 1 shot with the AC5+.
Engaging.
It misses, but that takes out the Hunchback's evasion. Now we can bring Claymore up and around. And he's got no spot he can really reliably get to. Oh no, from there. You can shoot from behind the Wolverine, and that'll still give him the same angle. That'll work. Only a small move. AC5. Only 54% chance too far out.
Target.
But we did manage to hit. It's only light pickling away at the armor, but it's better than nothing.
Waiting for order.
Alright. I kind of want to drop both of these. I know I've got parts for a Hunchback floating around. I know I've got parts for a Crusader floating around. I'm not sure which one I have more parts for. Although, having said that, the Hunchback is the nicer mech, so we'll go for the Hunchback. Or at least it's my preference. So, flanking maneuver, we'll do a straight sprint.
Roger, Skipper. Kicking
With
it.
both the fire starters to get them into flanking position. They also give a chance to actually see if there's anything else. We have a third mech.
Confirm.
Okay, that's good to know. In that case, we'll find out what that is soon enough.
I
We'll
got
do
you.
a big sprint out with the fire starter as well. Live here and not Twitch? No, I stream BattleTech over here on YouTube now. Twitch, I'm only really using... That actually landed too. That's unfortunate. I'm only going to really use it for stuff that would never be uploaded to YouTube anyway. So if I'm randomly playing MechWarrior 5 with the guys, or if I'm playing something where I'm just grinding away, you know, maybe an MMO or whatever I happen to be playing, where I'm not doing anything... What is it? It's a Phoenix Hawk. Of course it's a Phoenix Hawk. Yeah, not doing anything that's part of a series. It's just I'm playing a game in my own time and I decide to stream. I'll stream it over on Twitch. And so I don't mess up or, you know, bloat up the YouTube channel with random junk. And just keep the stuff that I'm actually doing a constantly running series on YouTube. The stuff you tune in for here, the random shit over there, because they're doing random shit, so it seems appropriate. Alright, medium lasers. The SRMs are too far out, so I'll save the ammo on those. We'll just cycle up the lasers.
I'm here.
And bring the Wolverine around.
Advancing, I guess.
Thing has got a nice loadout though. Fortunately, too far out to have the SRMs be effective, and they've got the best defensive position. But once we push in with the fire starters. Also no buffering over here, which is a massive bonus. Yeah, that does seem to be a Twitch thing. I don't know why, but that is a Twitch thing.
Barely hit, Commander.
Too many good games out there, just don't have time for the ones that I'd have now. Ah, that's...
Skipper.
There are worse problems to have. Although I'm finding the number of good games that are around is shrinking these days. Yeah, I think that'll be the move. I mean, consider for a moment the ones we were discussing here at the moment. BattleTech was released in the end of 2017, start 2018. XCOM 2, that was 2015 and I think 2016 for the expansion packs. Like, when it comes to these style of games, they're few and far between to have good ones.
Now let's see how you handle this.
Standing by.
Beach ball. Jump around and rip into the side. See if we can start disarming this Crusader.
Gotcha.
Head hit, pilot injured, that's good. Damn this hate map, just a kill zone where the AI gets a sentinel lock or a rangefinder happy, yeah. But because we're running a couple of fast mechs, we can sort of get them and group them up. And from what we're seeing here at the moment, it appears their lance is only 3 mechs. So we do have them on numbers, if not on weight. Pretty sure the Crusader's 60-tonner. Which is why I'm targeting it first, for the record. I want it out of the way. Yeah, let's take the hits on the right side of the Shadowhawk this time. Yeah, I want it out of the way, just because it's got a lot of weapons.
Engaging target.
Hey,
Now, the next move should be close enough that
there.
we can get the
Okay.
SRMs. Yes, now we're talking. Okay, yes, I really want that Hunchback more than anything else. That's a Laserback. I didn't check that out. Yeah, that's a 4P. It's the Disco Hunchback.
Light damage.
And the Phoenix Hawk decides to go melee.
Damage minimal.
Fair enough, I guess.
Damage minimal.
Ready to rock.
Alright, let's get Phantom in melee right-hand side.
Copy that, Commander.
Come on, break that arm. There we go.
That hit something good.
Waiting for orders.
Wide pass from the opposing side. Get out of your mech.
That hit something good.
Well, he's still not taking the hint. Crusader, 65 tons. Yeah, I thought it was around the 60-ton mark. It's one of the mechs that comes in with the mods. This is probably going to kill it, but
Engaging
honestly I'm
target.
more interested in the Hunchback. So, yeah, I'd say the pilot's incapacitated.
Enemy mech destroyed.
Right. Now we have to we'll get rid of the Phoenix Hawk next.
Warning. Armor low.
As silly as it sounds, The Phoenix Hawk shouldn't take quite so much to get rid of, and I just want its guns removed.
I'm here.
So then we can focus on the party back.
Copy.
I don't want to waste any precision shots here.
Object. Firing everything.
Alright. Of course it's going to go up there where it's going to be hard for the fire starters to get to. Oh well, looks like we're going to have to go for the party back afterwards. We can jump down and just get within MG range.
10-4.
Alright, let's do some armor stripping on
Target
the right.
4, an alpha strike.
Or on its left, rather.
What are your orders, Skipper? Up high! All weapons, go!
Battle
Ha!
Fist
You like
destroyed.
that?
Ooh, that's not where I wanted to take hits in the Shadowhawk. That's bad.
Warning. Armor breached. Internal damage.
Alright.
What? No. Affirmative.
We're a little too close there. Alright, let's start going Precision Strike 1. Aim for the torso.
Copy that. Firing alpha strike. But that hurt.
Let's get you to there. Into the tree line. Yeah, his back just got completely opened up by that party back. Ooh, we're about to lose a torso. Yeah, we need to adjust this party back's attitude here a little. Actually, change that. Redesignate target leg.
Engaging target. Enemy mech. Critical damage detected.
That's alright. Shoot the front of the Shadowhawk. That's fine. It's got armor there.
Damage minimal.
Multi-shot.
Standing by.
Alright, temperature's still good and we still have a precision shot here. So I want to use this one. That's risky with the Phoenix Hawk. But important as well. Kill the leg.
This should be good.
Left leg destroyed, left torso destroyed, so we got pilot
Recording
injury.
critical hit.
Okay. That was worth it.
Ready to rock.
Now,
I'm rolling.
this Phoenix Hawk also needs an attitude adjustment.
Firing.
Vector's thrust kit
Critical
destroyed. So that's its damage bonus from jumping removed. Switch location of the for the Shadowhawk and shoot down with a missile salvo into its rear. AC5 as well. We'll just fire the
All
lot.
weapons committed.
There goes a chunk of its guns.
Enemy mech. Critical damage detected.
Hey.
And let's go. No, there's no real bonus to doing melee at this. Just hit
Okay.
it from the other
let's
side.
go.
Hope the SRMs do the damage.
Targeting for an alpha strike. Critical hit, Commander.
Attack from the side. If it had attacked from the rear, it'd probably get straight through and it'd blow half the Shadowhawk to pieces. I'm not complaining, but that's just an odd choice. So we'll just go straight up with the lead spitter.
All weapons are go!
I think we broke something.
Critical hit.
What are your orders, Skipper?
I think we need to break it a little more.
I'm there.
Rear attack with the other fire starter.
Here we go.
Left torso destroyed, pilot
inflicted
injured,
some
and
nasty on that
he
sumbitch.
didn't eject. I was expecting an ejection.
Engaging physical attack.
He should have ejected.
Enemy mech destroyed.
Enemy got target fixated? Yes, they did.
Mission successful.
Alright, let's see what salvage we dragged out of that. And what we already had floating around in the hangar. Hopefully we got 2 parts of the Hunchback. Hopefully, although I think I might have done slightly too much damage. So 141,000 payout after drop costs. Now we do have some repairs to do here. The Shadowhawk did have all of its rear armor removed, but no internal damage, so that's going to be a pretty straightforward repair. Everything else is going pretty well overall. 2 clean kills to the Shadowhawk, and then a shared kill between each of the fire starters. Which is fair. We did get 2 parts. We have a party back. We have a party back. We only have... No, we don't have any parts of the Crusader. That's odd. I was sure we had 1 part of the Crusader floating around. But I'll take that. We've got 2 in the hangar. And we've got 2 more. That makes that mission worth it. Does anybody here experience video stuttering? You may get a little bit of it. It could be my connection on this end. It's possible, but it should be more stable here than it was on Twitch. Alright, so we didn't get the Crusader, but we did get the extra part of the Phoenix Hawk, so we're up to a parts of 2. LRM-15, we got a double plus SRM-6, which I will probably fit to something that I will actually use. I think we've even got a spare slot for that one too. Only just joined, but not getting any interference. It could be just a bit of a... You need to do a quick reset. Like, just reload the stream. Sometimes that might sort it out. Alright, so we have 2 options for the assembly of the Hunchback. We have the 4J and the 4P. Just double check. Yep, 4P. Yeah, we want the 4P. Well, the 4J is an interesting variant as well. Twin LRMs and 5 medium lasers. It's an interesting support. I'm going to take the party back. But I kind of almost want to get my hands on a 4J as well. Because if it's got 2 LRM-10s, those can easily be converted over to LRM-15s or LRM-20s if I sacrifice some of the medium lasers, which makes the Hunchback, the 4J... I don't think the 4J is the... what's the nickname it's got? I can't think of the term. I don't think it's the right variant to be the baby's first catapult, but you could make it one of those. No, we'll go with 4P. Oh, ready it.
Sure
Ready
thing.
now.
We'll see that it's prepped and ready.
Yeah, I do need a fire support mech, although we are starting to reach the point now where I'm really looking for a catapult. Like, we're starting to get into that point. This is our third mech in the 50-ton range now. We're really starting to look into the 60s. We're looking at weight like that Crusader, and obviously a catapult. And a catapult's ideally what I want. I'm actually looking to build a mech warrior specifically for getting a catapult and just doing a full LRM build on it, just to rain hell. Ammo and LRMs. Essentially the kind of mech we would stick dead meat in if this was actually Mech Warrior rather than BattleTech. Alright, so we're going to do some repairs here. So the Shadowhawk, yes, straightforward repair, and it'll 18,000 in 2 days. Pilots are not going to be free for 6, but that's okay because we've still got 3 mechs up and running. So we should be able to do one of the lighter missions. Now strap the SRM6 Plus to the laser back. I'm of course kidding. No, I'm actually thinking I might stick it on the Shadowhawk because I tend to run. I'm doing the repairs now, and it won't be while we're on this planet. But as we're doing our jump to the next world, I might bolt it onto the Shadowhawk because I tend to run fairly SRM heavy on most of my main mechs, so it might be worth bolting it onto that as a changeover. Alright, so contracts, what do we have? It's a skull and a half polar duo duel. So 2v2. What's the tonnage? For these you want to take... Yeah. You've got to go all just to get the pick of one, so you just want to take money. So this is a 618,000 mission. And what do we got? 35-ton limitation, so 2 fire starters. So we can do this. Now, those 2 pilots are out. We need... drill bitted work. Gunnery skill's a bit lower than I would like. Piloting 4 an Archangel. His gunnery skill's fine, but it's more the piloting skill for the evasion. Although we should be able to do this. We should be able to do this. Alright, so drill bit and Archangel can drive this one out. 2 35-ton fire starters, custom configured to be giant MG boats, and we're looking for a duel in the snow. I'd take Apex out for his first run, but the problem is his piloting skill is only 3, which means he doesn't get much in the way of evasion bonuses, especially driving something that's a light mech. So all he would do is get potentially himself killed and probably get the mech damaged. 4 is technically too low. I really want 5 or 6. If I was doing this the other way around, I'd have Phantom in the other mech. Would be what I would be after, would be the configuration. I'd run Drill Bit and Phantom, but this should be fine.
Mech warriors, prepare for combat.
4P is too vanilla in my opinion. Now, catapults are awesome. Catapults are fantastic. Catapults are one of my favorite Innisphere mechs. I do have a collection of ones that are near and dear to my heart, and the Cat is one of them. The catapult is just great. And I love its lore too. I absolutely love the lore of the catapult. There is virtually nothing that hasn't been bolted to that mech at some point in time or another. It's one of those mechs that, in the tabletop rules, you can almost get away with any kind of weapons configuration for it. Almost.
Command interface initiated.
I know this is a BattleTech stream, but since I finally managed to catch a stream, I'd just like to say that I love your KCD playthrough and have been loving the BattleTech streams and the CW videos. Oh, thank you very much, Peter. Yeah, Kingdom Come Deliverance was fantastic. I am really looking forward to them releasing the new one. It's actually part of the reason why I started up the Skyrim stream. Yes, I know I haven't done that in a couple of weeks. There's been some shit going on, but I'm trying to get back to it. I'm trying to get one up this week. I know I said that last week, but I am actually trying to get one up this week. But it's part of the reason why I wanted to do that again. I was itching to slash something with swords, and I kind of completed Kingdom Come Deliverance, but I haven't actually completed the main storyline of Skyrim before. But yeah, I can't wait till the second one. I love the first game. I absolutely loved it. I have been contemplating going back and playing it again for a stream as well. Just replaying through Kingdom Come Deliverance and trying to do it in a different way, and just seeing what can happen. Alright, so not a lot of cover on this map for the initial engagement. We don't know what the weight classes of the enemy mechs are. They can potentially be slightly heavier than ours. I think we all remember the time I encountered the X in one of these. We had a 35-ton mech and she had a Warhammer. But for the moment, I think we'll get up to this ridge line. That should break. Oh, there's nothing too heavy there, I don't think. No. It's a Javelin and a Stinger, I think. I think it's a Stinger. It's a lot of money that we've agreed to for this. 600,000, and there's not a lot in there. They must have really high piloting skills, so we'll have to watch that.
Waiting for orders.
Alright, so I am going to...
I read you, Commander. Moving out.
just duck in and brace. You're going to close. Cool, that's alright.
Standing by.
No, we can't make that jump yet, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to duck in and brace, and we'll go to the next round. Hopefully they don't jump first. Here comes the Jav. The Jav's the nasty one. Alright, cool.
What can I do for you?
And we can't jump behind him, but we can get a side shot. That's alright.
Affirmative.
Now we're going to use the precision strike option. We're going to go for the back center armor.
Got it. Want some more, huh?
Stinger gets its shot off. It's going for the back of the fire starter. Misses due to the evasion, which is good. This is exactly why I wanted to get the jump first.
Commander?
Archangel. And Archangel, this is why if Archangel had higher piloting from that position, he would be able to jump behind the Javelin. He can't make the jump, though, because he doesn't have high enough piloting skill. So, he can just rattle the Javelin from the front then.
Welcome to my Alpha Strike.
Structure exposed. I knew that was going to happen if they got first pig off.
Reporting structural damage.
I'm your spaniel.
Alright, Archangel can do jump.
Engaging jump
Get
jet.
first move on the back of the Javelin. God, I wish I had another precision strike right now,
Roger
but
that. Solid connection on that one.
alright. Will that be enough to take out the pilot? No, pilot's down but not out.
Good to go.
Drill bit. Jump for full evasion, get up to 4, 4, 5. Yeah, there.
Engaging
Still
jump
in the
jet.
firing arc. Hopefully that's longer than the range of the Stinger. Center torso, fire.
Firing everything I've got. That's a critical hit.
Pilot bailed out, so that's the big gun. The Javelin's got the most firepower of the two mechs and the most armor. So now we've just got to deal with the Stinger, which just did a stupid by firing a shot without moving, so it just sacrificed all of its evasion bonuses. We'll
I
do
live to
Archangel
serve.
first. Jump to rear on the Stinger while it has no
Jumping.
evasion bonuses whatsoever. Precision strike. Spack bang in the middle of the back.
Punching all the buttons. Take
MG
that.
crit. Engine shielding crit.
Commander? All weapons are go! Critical hit!
If I was the pilot, I'd be getting out of that thing right about now.
Waiting for orders.
Still no. You know what? I'm going to be stupid and I'm not going to move this turn. I'm just going to fire the shot from right where we are. 'Cause we're in too good a shot to move around. Yeah, it was worth it.
That means one less target.
Disassembled. That worked out well. Way to go, Commander. Even managed to record that for the crew's holovid room.
Mission successful.
Only mistake there was the Stinger getting behind one of the fire starters and getting through the rear armor, although it didn't do any major damage, so it shouldn't be much of a repair. And that was 618,000. And if there is any salvage, we're likely going to get it. I don't think there would be a lot left, though. Yep, we got one Javelin part, and there was a bunch of jump jets. So this is why you don't take salvage on these missions. It's not worth it. It's almost never worth it. Now, working for the Cappies was money. I needed money. And they only want to fight pirates. They're not fighting anybody that I care about, so... We're going to need to do some mech repairs. Yep, I know. We will get that done as quickly as we can. I generally avoid it, but you can see why I took that mission. Alright, so now we have to wait a little bit for them to actually fix the mech. So we can't run a new one now, and we've got most of our pilots fatigued. So we need at least 7 days. At least 7 days to get everyone up and running again. Hey Gregory, thank you very much for the $5, mate. Alright, 4P is to vanilla in my opinion. Catapults are awesome. Just catching back up on everything I've missed in the stream. I knew a couple of them come in there. I'd say the only way to get XP would be to use them, but that would be a lie. Well, you can get a little bit in on the, like to train the pilots up on the, using the training, the simulators, which I do have. But, I will be using the pilots that need to be trained. I just need to find appropriate mechs for what they've got. If I need something where I've only got 2 mechs available and the ability to hold high evasion is a massive factor in them, I want pilots that already have high piloting skills in them. They don't necessarily have to have the high gunnery skills. There's enough MGs on the fire starters to not have to worry about that too much. Just rain bullets at them until they stop moving. It's so long as you can move fast enough to not get shot back. The Toyota of BattleTech? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the catapult is a type it is. Indirect fire support, direct fire support, sniper, short-range brawler. Yeah, and it excels in pretty much everything except that short-range brawler role. It can be built that way, but... Although, actually, no, I retract that statement. At one point, I did build a catapult that consisted of nothing but SRMs. And you can put a lot of SRMs on a catapult, as it turns out. It's very, very, very bad for whoever gets the precision strike out of that. If you do a revisit of it on stream, I know that at least myself would absolutely love to see the series of streams. Yeah, I'm contemplating it. If they take too much longer with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I'm going to wind up playing through 1 again. It is just that good of a game. It really is. I'd like to have my net connection upgraded so I can get a nice smooth frame rate without any issues before I did that, but yeah, I've been wanting that for years and it hasn't happened, so... I love the voice line, punching all the buttons. Yeah, it does It does bring about the thought of the meme where he just goes through the missiles, more missiles, all the missiles hitting all the switches from the anime. Not readying the Raven, not yet. The Raven's going to go into the second bay. A 50-ton is more important than the Raven at this point. No problem. Keep up the great work. Cheers from the USA. Well, happy 4th of July for over there as well. Okay, so at this point, I should have probably been advancing time a little bit here, let everybody get their rest and get the mechs bolted back together.
Job's done, Commander.
Cool. 8 days till financial, 3 days till our mech warriors are all ready, and then we can do the next couple of missions. Alright, 5 days. Contracts. Let's see what we have. So we've got Corporate Secrets, which is a recovery mission, Polar, Skull and Half. As I said, I'm not super fond of those missions, but they're better than your convoy intercept missions. And the Cappies. They've got a battle against the pirates. And they want to send us off-world somewhere to do... That's training day.
Dr. Rod, you're really doing a bang-up job on ship repairs. I just wanted to say that.
Gifu. I wonder if that's in the right direction.
Yeah, no problem. And you
Navigation. Gifu.
so it's a double win for me.
Where is Gifu? That's Gifu. It is in the right direction. Okay. I'm not super fond of working for the Cappies. I'm mainly here to do Davian missions against the Cappies. But that one's against pirates. They don't say who they're against here. But Gifu's only got Davian. Well, there's usually almost a default pirate presence, but it's likely against Davian. It's almost worth taking this one. It's a single... I'd only require a single mech active in order to be able to do it. This is one of the ones where they give you 3 pilots and 3 mechs to work with. 880,000. And they pay you travel expenses, so that gets us in the direction we want to be going. They pay for our our travel expenses to get there, so we don't have to worry about that. And we can get an 880 grand at the end of it. I have to consider that. Alright, so Capellan Confederation against pirate lancers in the region. It's a battle in the polar region. Max Salvage 314. Okay, yep, we'll do this one against the pirates. And yeah, I think I'll just run this middle. This will be, again, it's about 100 grand roughly at the moment to drop off our lance, so we'll bring about 268, assuming there's no bonus objectives that we can knock over as well. And we get a 2-8 pickup option, so we can drag something off the battlefield as well. That's not bad. We'll go with that. We'll go with that, and then we'll go back and do the Davian mission before we leave. Alright, so the Hunchback has been put back together, but it has nothing at the moment. All it's got is the framework, which is fine. We have to figure this one out. No. Those out. Those out. We're going to want the Shadowhawk. We are going to want the Wolverine. We will fix up the Hunchback while we're in transit. The 2 fire starters down the bottom. Again, we'll get Claymore up in front. And Cerberus in the Wolverine. Beach Ball in the fire starter, and we will roll with Phantom again. I really do need to push the work on these 2 scouts. They definitely need to be pushed up. We need to get their gunnery skills up above 4 on both. So, yeah, those two need work as we're running through. We definitely need better scouts later, especially since I've got a Raven sitting in the hangar. And then we'll just go with our standards. Alright, deploying in. Oh Lord, I haven't thought in years about that old mech parody show, Magnus XR in years. Oh, there was a whole bunch of them back in the day. Some of them were actually quite good too, I might add. What was it? There was another one that was there was another mech show. It came out around about the same time as the BattleTech cartoon in the early 90s. Shit, I can't remember the name of it now off the top of my head. I can visualize the mechs in it. They're a lot more rounded. But I can't think of the name of the show. It had a really ridiculous name. But in the long run, it actually turned out to be a better show, a better mech show than the BattleTech cartoon was. Like, in terms of storyline. I think it got 2 seasons as well. It was actually pretty cool, but it started off a bit silly, and it was clearly... Somebody's making a BattleTech cartoon. Quick, we need to make a Western giant robot walking tank cartoon. And so they made one, and it eventually actually turned into a really good show. Or at least the episodes of it I saw, because it was airing on TV. No internet or streaming back then, so you did miss episodes if you didn't, get up at exactly the right time on exactly the right morning every single day. But yeah, there was a whole bunch of them. No, it wasn't Macross. It wasn't Macross. I know Macross, I know my Macross, and I know my Robotech. I have the Robotech box set behind me. I do have to collect Macross and watch through the Macross, the original Macross saga. I've only seen bits and pieces of it here and there. Although apparently it has all been English dubbed. Yes, I am a dirty, horrible dub watcher. I watch the dub. The reason why I watch the dub is because I actually like watching the, I enjoy the actual art and animation itself, and if I'm reading goddamn subtitles, I'm not looking at the art or animation.
Okay, let's go. I'm there.
Got a Leopard inbound on the battlefield with Marek markings. We're expecting company. God. Although, we're going to have to deal with them, aren't we? No, we aren't. Commander, heads up. You may have additional hostiles. Fucking Capellans. Every time. Every goddamn time it's the fucking Capellans.
Standing by.
That's alright, at least it's not Davian. I haven't made full friends with the Capellans, with Marek yet, although it's on my shortlist to do. Alright. Actually, probably not a sprint. Just a standard move order, and then we'll jump out the sensors.
Sensors locked on.
Only an urban mech. Really?
Yup.
Alright, Phantom, what's the second mech?
Got a lock.
On a fire starter. Third mech on the ridgeline. This has to be the Scout Lance. Marek forces haven't landed yet. They're going to land here. Curious what you are. These two are nothing impressive so far. Frontier and Delta are finally getting a US release, so we might get dubs for those. I almost guarantee we will now, Chaser. The bit that was stopping Macross from getting all of its dubs, as I understand it, or releases in Western, like for Western audiences, was actually related somewhat to the Harmony Gold lawsuits that were tied into the BattleTech IP as well. Well, that's all been done. that's all been finalized. The judge has ruled that Harmony Gold can go suck a dick, and there's nothing that they can do about it anymore. So after 2.5 decades of screwing it up for everybody, they're now out of the way. So I wouldn't be surprised if the entire Macross saga from start to finish had professional redubs done across the entire lot, got professional remasters across the entire board, and then got proper full releases in the West in its entirety. Because they've never really had that, because there was a whole bunch of legal crap that was going. Yeah, Harmony Gold was at the core of that. They were a major part of the problem. Well, they've been done. They got crushed under the heel. They're finished. They were, as of 2016, 2017, they're out of play. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see a full re-release of the entirety of the Macross series with remasters, proper high-quality dubs, the works. Just...
I'm here.
Because the series is popular over here, even though it's never had a proper professional release. So... You know, it's a...
Advancing,
would you like to
I
make
guess.
money on something that is basically guaranteed to make money? I mean, if they actually released that and released a box set for it, I'm not a huge anime watcher, and I would absolutely buy the entire box set of Macross series redone. And I would sit back and watch it with my kids. Yeah, so happy to learn Harmony Gold's been told proper. Oh yeah, that was a happy day for everybody. That's kind of why some MechWarrior stuff started showing back up again. Why the tabletops sort of come back, why BattleTech became a thing here, why MechWarrior 5 sort of became a thing. Yeah. Free Worlds League, Detachment Leader. Ha, told you monitoring compelling comms would pay off. It looks like walking salvage, lads. Mercenary Commander, eject your people and leave your mechs and you'll be allowed to leave. Yeah, we're going to be killing some Merrics. Shit, Commander, this just got complicated. No, it didn't. We just got more salvage. And it looks like they dropped off a Locust and a Griffin. I think that's a Griffin? Possibly a Griffin. Oh, hang on. I'll zoom in, I'll check it out. Nah, it's Wolverine. Oh, I'm so scared.
Commander? Rolling.
Alright, we need to deal with these scouts first. Another urban mech. Get rid of the Urbies. They have this uncomfortable habit of hitting things with their large autocannons.
All weapons are go.
That's the wrong arm. You're
Scored a
supposed to shoot
critical
the arm that's on the side that you're shooting from, the one that's got the big fucking barrel sticking out of it. That one's the one I want you to shoot.
Damage minimal.
What are your orders, Skipper?
My orders are strip this fire starter of its goddamn
Acknowledge,
evasion
Commander.
pip so I can punch it in the face.
Engaging target.
One pip down.
That hit something good.
A wasp. Hopefully, the Marek mech will actually engage the pirate mechs.
Hey.
No, we won't go with the melee there.
Moving to position.
We'll just rain shit on its parade.
Targeting. For now to strike.
And we'll go with melee with the Shadowhawk. Fire starter's starting to get focused, so we're gonna have to break the fire starter out of there.
Reporting. Serious armor loss.
Yep, I'm working on it, Alright. Break the fire starter.
Engaging physical attack.
Right leg destroyed, yep, that'll do. That will do. Next turn, it's done. Okay, so what are you going to engage? You're going to engage the pirates, or are you going to engage me as well? Nope, you're engaging the pirates. Good. Shoot the wasp. That would be excellent, because it's going to get real annoying soon enough.
Yes, Commander.
Alright, beach ball. You can pull out of there. Jump.
Lifting off.
Rotate 180, and then shoot down. Take the other leg off the fire starter. That's not taking the other leg off the fire starter, but okay. Furry Curie, that purple bird fetishist, must have looked in the mirror when he talked about walking salvage. Yeah, I admit, I think I've got a couple of parts of a Wolverine floating around as well. Still haven't managed to pull your Merc outfit out of the light medium hole you dived into. Nah, still working on it. We just picked up a Hunchback that needs to be reconfigured once we're finished with this planet. So we've got a party back now, which is good. But yeah, we're still a little lighter on the tonnage than I would like. Actually, no, we better not do that. Rough terrain. Where's going to be the best spot? Still rough terrain. But I just need to keep the rear armor away while we focus on the mechs that we need to eliminate first. He really needs to go first.
Critical hit, Commander.
Can nobody hit a leg on a mech that's lying down?
My old mama can hit harder than that.
Alright, we're going to get a 3-pip. Take the 3-pip. No, I'll take 4. That's a 4. That's alright.
10-4.
Take the leg.
All weapons, go. Tango is trash, Skipper.
Okay. We got there in the end. It took 3 attempts, but we did get there in the end. Alright, now, Claymore, we're going to back you up. That's not going to work from there. It's probably not going to land, but we'll take a swing at the Wasp, because the Urban Mech and the other, well, the 2 Urban Mechs are currently being tied up by Marek forces. So we'll let the Marek deal with those. We'll get rid of this Wasp, because it's just going to be irritating getting into our rear armor all the time. Okay, that hit.
Enemy mech. Critical damage
That
detected.
hit really hard. Okay then. Fair enough. So much for him being annoying. Next turn, one of the fire starters jump in and gun him down while he's on the ground, and that'll be him done. Then we can pull these 2 Urbies apart from behind, and then we'll have to kill the Marek forces.
Skipper.
Phantom, you can have the honor. Because you will get the biggest jump and the highest level evasion over here. You'll in fact be damn near untouchable after a jump that long. Center torso.
Now let's see how you handle this.
There we go.
Bye-bye.
Alright, now we've got to start dealing with the rest of those autocannons. Oh, it looks like Marek's helping us out there a little bit, which is good.
Reading you.
Don't really like you know what? I'm not going to go after that one just yet.
Move order received.
I can't jump quite far enough to clear straight to the other tree line, and I don't want to leave one of the fire starters out in the open, so...
Affirmative.
Clear that one out, and then we'll snipe
Enemy
the other one
eliminated.
from across this side using the heavier mechs. Saving the precision strikes for the Wolverine.
Enemy mech. Critical damage detected.
Pity you, got lucky and got myself a guillotine and a stalker within 400 days, plus some nice mediums. Makes the life so much easier. Yeah, it would. It comes down to actually requiring 4 parts for this one and having the difficulty levels in general just turned up. I'm running this one on the difficulty level limit, 2, so...
On my way.
There's a couple of things I would change. The biggest issue more than anything else is honestly pilot skill. I don't mind that it's taking a little while to get access to new mechs. It's making me spend a lot of time in mechs that I normally just breeze over. Like, if I'm playing vanilla, I pick up the Wolverine and I'd literally run it for 3 missions and I'd already have a replacement for it. Here I'm actually having to use the Wolverine and think about other ways that I might build it, which I'm enjoying. My biggest complaint, if I had had any complaints about the settings that I've got set up for at the moment, is the time that it takes for the pilots to actually build up XP.
Copy.
That is incredibly slow.
Critical hit, Commander.
Good afternoon, evening to you in Austria. A beautiful country filled with wonderful, intelligent, friendly people, sending you the best from the US. Not all of the idiots, just 30 to 40%.
I'm here.
I know it's a meme. It is still funny.
Location confirmed.
Right.
Copy that.
Okay, now we're going to deal with Marek.
Mech destroyed.
One of the tooltips I saw is that pilots build more XP facing tougher missions. Maybe that factor is cranked up a little too high. It is.
Confirmed.
Yes, and that is a key core part of the issue that I'm having. But it's not the only part. Like, just general XP gains are relatively low in this, even if you're facing higher difficulty missions. The mission relation... Ooh, that's a good kick. 2 pips down.
Yes, Commander.
Right. Cerberus can melee from the tree line.
I'm there. Going hand to hand, I guess.
Right, arm, right torso destroyed. Pilot was injured.
That
one?
looked like a critical hit.
You know what? Let's just try and see if we can finish this one off by punching it in the face with the Shadow Hawk as well.
Engaging physical attack.
This poor Locust. Pilot incapacitated. Okay, that's nearly a full mech recovery on that one. And that leaves the Wolverine as the last mech.
Yes, Commander.
Okay, so... we have full precision, so we really want to come in on the sides with our armor strippers here. Precision strike.
Target
Go for the legs.
an alpha strike.
Ready to rock. Affirmative, Commander.
in as well. You're not going to get much in the way of an evasion bonus with that, but that's fine. You can only shoot one, and I have a funny feeling it's not going to be you.
Firing.
Into that leg as well. So he lays most of the shots into the arm.
Ha! You like that?
Right here.
Wolverine, pull you back an extra step.
Roger that.
Really gotta fix out your minimum range bonus. Precision strike again, lay into the leg.
Okay, firing everything.
And we didn't do it. Damn it, I was hoping to take the leg out in this turn so the bastard fell over, so we'd get a free bunch of shots on it. Alright, well,
All
give it
weapons
everything.
committed. Enemy mech. Critical damage detected.
I'm here.
Alright. I want to sort of control my damage a
Order
little bit now.
acknowledged. Ha!
Left leg destroyed. Right. Nice. Whoa. Okay, that's overdoing it a little.
Scored a critical hit.
But, okay. Okay, fair enough.
What are your orders, Skipper?
You know what?
I'm there.
Let's take a gamble. 2% chance with all of these guns.
Accuracy through volume of fire. Inflicted some nasty on that sumbitch.
Standing by. I'll try.
Yeah, screw it, let's just kill it.
Mission successful.
Okay. Well, we'll see what we drag out of that one. Yeah, same for me. Even on 2.5 scale missions, my pilots 1 to 2 scales get like 100 XP max. Yeah, it's heavily reduced, and it's intended to drag out and make those pilots that get to high skills a lot more valuable. So when you lose one, it's really painful. Even one that's still in the process of training. It's not like, you know, in vanilla BattleTech, it's not really painful losing a pilot until all their skills are above 8. And it doesn't really hurt unless you lose a pilot that skills are all at 10. Here you can have a pilot that is all at 5s, and it hurts. It's a painful loss to have to deal with, because it takes a lot just to get to that. But we are working on it. Alright, so all of our mechs did phenomenally well. Basically nothing got through the armor, and everybody got kills, and they all got another 40 XP apiece. So there we go. Let's see. Alright, so we got 2 salvage items here. 2 parts of the Locust, 2 Urban Mech components, 1 component on the Wolverine. We have no spare Wolverine parts, so that's useless to us. You know what? I'm going to grab the Irby. We've got 2 parts of the Irby already in the hangar, so if I grab the 2 Irby components, that's a bonus check. So we grab the 2 components, as well as whatever we pull on the random, and we sell the Irby as soon as we've assembled it, and we've made a little bit of extra money on this one, which is good considering we're coming right up on pay. Alright, so we pulled the Wolverine as well. So we've got 1 part Wolverine flitting around with 55 tons. We picked up the AC-10, a large laser, some spare AC-10 ammo, SRM ammo, and jump jets. Not terrible. Not terrible. So I have to decide which one we're going to build, and then we sell it straight away. I used to run 10 mech jockeys so I can do up to 2 missions in one day before taking 2 to 3 days off. Yeah, I'm building up mine. I haven't had the money to do that kind of selection yet. And it looks like we've only got one shot. We're getting the R60. Yep, and we're selling it straight away. So that's another 200,000. We'll take that. So what are the primary additions or changes of BattleTech BEX mod features? I've not heard from it at all. Or it's BattleTech Extended. So what BEX does is it takes the game rules and makes them significantly closer to the rules of the original tabletop. Particularly changes rules around evasion and some of the rules in regards to damage reduction, cover, hit chances, and some of the dice rolls in the background, and makes them much closer to the tabletop. It also adds a huge number of mechs, over 100. It also changes the timeline. BattleTech Vanilla takes place in 3025, roughly. You'll notice at the moment it's 3029 November 16th. The timeline for BattleTech Extended goes all the way to 3061 and the start of the FedCom Civil War, which means the clan invasion is included in BattleTech Extended. And as I showed there before,
Commander on deck.
It's no longer the periphery. You've got the entire inner sphere to play with. The original BattleTech game takes place just in here. Now, not all stars are represented, as you can see. The number of spots you can go to down here is significantly less than the original game. That's unfortunate, but it's a limitation of the engine. But keep in mind, all these planets are represented in lore that you can see, and there are more that are not represented because they had to pick and choose which ones to put in. But yes, the entire battle map for the original BattleTech takes place there. So you now have the entire inner sphere. The other change is as certain key events happen in the storyline, such as the clan invasion, various civil wars, changes, and so on, the borders for all of these states will change. So you'll see the clan invasion corridor forming. We're about to see an entirely new state form down here. Not long after, we should see another one over here. The front lines and the lines of control for each of the factions will change as things go through. If any major, you do get once every month, providing there's something major that happens in lore. It's usually on the 10th of every month. You do get a Comstar news report that updates you on any major events that have occurred in that period, that lets you know where you're up to in the timeline. And the entire thing is reconfigured to be significantly more difficult, to have a larger variety of missions, a larger variety of general events, and to be played as a long war, is the idea. It's entirely possible to start a campaign in 3020 and to play all the way to 3061 as a single mercenary force and see where you get at. And the difficulty is high enough that, well, at this point in time, we've been going for nearly 2 years since we created our mercenary company, and I'm still struggling to get over 3 million, and we're still only playing with medium mechs. So, big jump on the difficulty level. So, yeah. The entire ISM, metric shit ton of new mechs, and some more mechanics and generally closer to the tabletop game. Yeah. Plus starting years 3025 to 3060. Actually, it could be 3065 and not 3061. So yeah, but yeah, it plays up to the very start of the FedCom Civil War. Once you complete this mod, there is another mod, which is BattleTech Advanced, which actually starts at the start of the FedCom Civil War and plays all the way into the 3100s as well. So you can play into the Il-Klan era, and you can play through the Jihad era. You can play through the whole lot. So I am planning on doing that too. Furikuri, damn, that Firestarter must be radical right-wing supporter, since all it does all day is nuking the entire left side. Hey, my Firestarter build is beautiful. I love my Firestarters with their MG configuration. They're accuracy through higher volume of fire. Yep. That's the way it works. And they work really well too, as you can see. How comes you don't have a single Wolvie part? Even with BEX, they are rather common. Well, I built one. I think I may have built a second one and sold it for the money, because I didn't really have a use for two. It was better for me to run the fire starters. I have access to other mechs at the moment, but I'm continuing to run the fire starters. The reason why I'm running the fire starters is exactly what you've seen in there. These things are nuts. And for the types of mechs we're facing at the moment, they're ideal to have two of them floating around, doing exactly what you see them doing. What I need is something heavier than the Wolverine to replace the Wolverine, and that's probably what I'm going to be doing with the Hunchback. Even though the Hunchback is lighter, it has more firepower than the Wolverine does. And I think configured I can actually get more armor out of it as well. So it will be a better mech option than the Wolverine. What I may do is switch the Hunchback into the Wolverine slot while we're jumping between planets, once I've got it configured. And I may reconfigure the Wolverine into a fire support. I may actually start dragging those LRMs that have been stacking up and using some of those, and convert it back into the support mech that it was sort of more built to be, rather than what I'm using it for. Because its closer range configuration that it's in at the moment is more out of a, I needed something that has weight in close range, and I didn't have a lot of options. So Beeble, as to old games here, I'm playing a 2007 game of Stalker: Escape from Pripyat. I think I've got that installed on somewhere at the moment. I've never actually played through Stalker. Somebody recommended me a Stalker total conversion mod that apparently includes the core of the game, and I installed it on and never played it, but I probably should, considering I love the Stalker aesthetic. Well, I have played Stalker. I have never played completely through an entire Stalker game. I've just poked around it here and there. So, yeah. I really should do that at some point. Yeah, and that's not uncommon. I hear nothing but good stuff about Stalker, and I know people right now on my Discord that have it installed on and still play it regularly. So I do recall it was really buggy when they first released it, but the community fell in love with it and did what they do with every Bethesda game and fixed everything and then upgraded it and modded the hell out of it. So, yeah. Every time I hear something different from a battle mech, I'm wondering what's coming my way in Stalker. Yeah, I could see that happening. Yeah, Gregory, the Clan Invasion 2. Yep, absolutely. The clan's in there, and all of the clan mechs, including all of the ones from the original Mech Warrior 2, and as well as a whole bunch of others, and a whole bunch of variants. Like some of the clan Omni-mechs. I think there's like 8 or 9 different stock variants of the Timberwolf that's in there. You've got all the specialist mechs, so the Clan Ghost Bear's Kodiak is in there, Daishi's in there, Warhawk's in there, of course, because they're pretty standard stuff. Yeah, just huge number of clan mechs and lots of configurations, including some of the rarer ones. Gargoyles, I think, is in there as well. I think some of the clan refit mechs, the clan refits are available too. So, like the clan refit of the Atlas and the clan refit of the Jenna, so the 2C variants also pop up. Gregory, thank you very much for the $10, mate.
Hello, stream.
That would be a Tel joining in. Hello, Tel.
Yeah, hi.
Does it add any boost to the authenticity of the weapon systems and or armor, like physics respecting characteristics of ballistics, missiles, and energy weapons versus a vanilla game? Yeah, it retunes the entire game to be closer to the tabletop rule set. So, whether realistic or not, that's what this is going for. BEX is going for recreating BattleTech into a more realistic, a closer representation of the tabletop that spawned the entire BattleTech universe. Are you actually going to use the Assassin? If not, it's an overall bad mech. Sell it to save money. Watch month. I keep the Assassin. The Assassin isn't a bad mech. I've covered this a couple of times. I keep it there on the off chance that I think I'll need it, although I'm more likely to throw it into the hangar and keep it than I am to sell it. The Assassin is actually... It's not a great mech, but it's a very particular mech. The big thing with the Assassin is this, the intercept system, which bonuses ignores 3 invasions. So, these fire starters are built so when they do a melee attack they remove 1 evasion pip off the target, and then when they open up with the MGs, they rip a 2nd evasion pip off the target. So 2 fire starters can remove 4 evasion pips between them. That usually drops the evasion enough that the 2 heavier mechs can, wreck face and do what they do. The Assassin can straight engage it and target and will just straight ignore 3 pips of evasion like they don't exist when it's initiating its attacks, and then it will do whatever it does on top of that. The problem with the Assassin is because of its limited weapons options and because it's in general a relatively fragile mech for 40 tons, it requires a pilot that's actually got really high evasion skills in order to be able to utilize it. Otherwise it gets its teeth kicked in. The enemy will primary target this thing all the time. The AI will focus on it and try and rip it a new one. So you want somebody who's got 6 or 7 points in piloting to use it. Now in vanilla BattleTech, that makes it nearly useless, because by the time you've got a pilot that's got 6 or 7 points in piloting, you've got 80-ton mechs. You're not going to use an Assassin. In BEX, this is a bit different. Having a highly... If you can get up to around, I think it's 8 points in evasion, you gain an ability which allows your pilots to retain their evasion points in between turns, so they don't reset to 0 at the start of each round. When you get that, you can essentially keep a mech at its maximum evasion points at all time, which means this thing can go around the battlefield murdering scouts all day long and nobody can stop it. None of the mechs on the enemy team will be able to hit it to actually slow it down. It can just jump, move, kill, move, kill, move, kill, move, kill. Give it a configuration where it gets 2 attacks, it will just murder the entire battlefield. Even if it stops to melee something, it won't lose the evasion pips it has, and it will just keep moving on. So you can slaughter the entire enemy team's scouts with 1 mech, but you need a high-skill pilot to actually pull it off. That's why it's still sitting in my hangar. It's near useless to me at the start of the game when I'm looking for more tonnage. But once I start getting later into the game with pilots that are slightly more skilled than I've got now, this thing will be able to replace both the fire starters on its own and do the same job. And it will just run around the battlefield and it will murder every single wasp, every single stinger, every single locust, and every single light mech the enemy deploys to try and scout me out. It'll assassinate all of them. And there will be nothing that the enemy AI can do to stop it. Which leaves me 3 mechs that can run around with much more tonnage and kill everything. So, that's why I'm keeping it. It's kind of like the Raven in that it's a unique enough mech in what it does. You don't really want to get rid of it in BEX. It has some interesting capabilities, but they're capabilities that you can't really fully utilize until you have a pilot that's good enough to actually take advantage of them. A very particular mech, is that what you tell people? Your kids are something bad? My offspring aren't that great, but very particular. No, my kids are awesome. One of my kids is already...
Your moderators are particular.
Yes, my moderators are particular. My kids are awesome. I have one that is brilliant.
One of them tries to kick you from your own Discord server all the time, just for posting snack.
One of my kids is a brilliant artist, better than I was at her age, and damn near as good as I am now. And I've done qualifications to improve this, and she's She's going to be amazing. One of my kids is onto his second belt in karate and is clearly going up the athletics tree really hard. And my youngest son is very, 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 very creative. So I have a lot of happiness from my 3 kids. Thank you.
Hashtag blessed. But unironically.
No, yeah, unironically, I, for all the shit that goes wrong with me and all the broken parts of my body between my eyes and everything else, I clearly rolled a lot of snake eyes with me, but I hit the top of the dice when it come to the kids, so that's worked out. My next plan is to learn how to fly and fight in DCS. I have a few mods, but Stalker is my go-to game, and it's excellent to find others who enjoy Stalker. Yeah, well, everybody has a go-to game, and as I said, I've heard nothing bad against Stalker. I really need to spend the time to actually play through it. And DCS, don't be intimidated. It's not as hard as people make out. Just download the base game, the free download base game, and just use the SU-25 as a starter, just to work out how to perform ground attack. The truth of the matter is most of the time you'll be blowing stuff up on the ground in DCS anyway. And it's a perfectly good aircraft. It's a fantastic aircraft. So just do that one as a bit of practice, and it will get you used to it and have a bit of fun. The Assassin would be good if you could cut some weight by using Ferro or Endo armor, just like BattleTech Advanced or RT. In BEX, it's pretty much in the same position like in Vanilla, to be honest. Yeah, this is true, but you can still make it work. It's really more of a pilot issue than anything else. And if you, again, as Spirit's putting underneath, if you can get some triple plus Streak SRM6s on board, yeah, it'll become a really nasty bastard. Basically, I'm keeping the Assassin floating around because eventually we're going to be getting into the clans, and they're going to have things like the Firemoth. I'm not looking forward to fighting clan Firemoths. I don't care what mech configuration I've got. I'm not looking forward to those things. A 20-ton scout mech that's capable of 140 kilometers an hour without mask, but it is equipped with mask, but has the firepower of a commando. And clan pilots are likely to be fairly high skilled, so they're probably going to be about 5 to 6 points in piloting. So the thing's going to have 7 to 8 evasion points, and it's going to be able to cover my entire weapons range in a single turn. I'm not looking forward to fighting those, so I want something that can murder them regardless. What's the difference between the Federated Suns and the Turian Concordant? 2 completely different states. The Turians are a major periphery power that the House Davian has tried to conquer actually a lot of people have tried to conquer many times and have wound up getting their teeth kicked in virtually every time. It's also one of the periphery powers that the Inner Sphere was never able to actually conquer and bring into the fold. So, yeah, they are 2 completely different sort of interstellar superpowers. The Federated Suns is obviously larger, but the Turians are... they're not to be underestimated. Let's just put it that way. They can be arseholes, but they're very dangerous arseholes. And they're arseholes to be respected. Alright, so, anyways... going through a little bit here. Alright, we need another contract. We got 2 missions to go off-world for the Cappies now. Training day to Gifu. Both to Gifu. And we might end up taking those yet, just for the free ride. Alright, so, corporate secrets. Scientists for the Davian conglomerate. I've turned an industrial spy for a rival corporation from Laos. She was privy to numerous industrial secrets, and we would prefer not to fall into our competitors' hands. The Capellan leadership has offered to sell her back. We intend to use false hope of negotiations to buy you time to extract the scientists through more proactive means. Yes, okay, I'm cool with this. Let's...
Aha, human resources mercenary.
We are going to have to wait until the financial report passes to do this one, though. I do want to make sure that I have my best pilots up and running, because these missions can go sideways. Alright, so 400,000. Cool. Right. Contracts. Small brain block there. Alright, so the pay isn't great for this one at all, really. It's really not. The pay's bad enough that I'm almost willing to go 418 and just see what we can drag off the battlefield and just wear the rest. Although, no, we'll do that one. We'll go 314. Because then the 78,000 is going to cover at least most of the drop cost. The only reason I'm really doing this one is because it is for the Federated Suns. We are going to be kicking the crap out of the Capellans, which is always good. And we'll see what we drag off the battlefield with it. It's a skull and a half recovery mission. Right, so Shadowhawk, Wolverine, Firestarter, Lead Spitter. Yet we'll run with exactly the same configuration as we did last time, because this is a configuration that works, and let's go. And this will be the last mission on this planet before we move on. Spirit Fox, they're like a frontier state that got absolutely trashed by the Star League during the unification war. I wouldn't say they got trashed. Mauled? Yeah, but they did a fair share of mauling back too. The Turians, there's a reason why they weren't conquered. Because that was the goal. And they couldn't actually be conquered.
Command
Armory
interface
Fortress is my
initiated.
2, Operation Flashpoint 2, or will shape up to be after many more studio patches, updates, DLC. Yeah, we'll have to see how that one goes. I have heard of the new armor, which looks like almost the prototype for what is probably going to become Armor 4. Hopefully they get it just running a little bit better. I did like Armor a lot, but it was a little unstable on a couple of things. And every single time we had to do, we tried to organize to do anything in Armor, especially if it involved mods, half the people couldn't get the mods running correctly, and everything always turned to shit. It was a fairly constant thing. But I do have really fond memories. There was one mission we did in Armor 3, modded, where
I'm there.
I think it's on the channel as a video.
Affirmative, Commander.
Where I was flying the Cobra as helo air support for a Abrams company that was trying to move through a map that was totally not meant to be Afghanistan, and that was fantastic. Yeah, it was something. Stan was the name of the map, and it's like, yeah, this is. We don't want to call this map Afghanistan, but this is totally Afghanistan.
I mean, there's a lot of stands.
Yeah. At least we got the tree line. I'm surprised we're being allowed to drop in so close to the objective. So we'll do a enemy contacts. Okay, that's what we're waiting for. Right.
Waiting for orders.
Beach ball. You're going to do a move. Just into the tree
Coordinates
line.
received.
What are your orders, Skipper? I'm there.
By the way, did you get a chance to look into the Terra Invicta demo?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I've
Did
barely
you install it at least?
No, I've barely had.
Then you
chance
won't
to
get
play.
a chance to look at it.
Moving
So
to position.
Okay. Well, I will. I'll look at it
Yeah.
when it comes out. Yeah, I've barely had a chance to play games over the last week.
fair enough.
I
Not
had
with being crippled and all.
Well, not just that. I've got that, and
Commander?
I have had work stuff to do as well. Like, it just, unfortunately, when you hurt yourself, life just doesn't say, hey, just kick your feet up and take a break. It doesn't really give too much of a shit, really. Alright, so we have a Wolverine. That's interesting. What's you?
I've got a sensor lock.
Okay, I'm starting to think maybe I should have taken the 4-part
Ready to
option
rock.
for this one. We have 2 much higher tonnage mechs than I would be expecting. Let's keep you know, I really want to get the lead spitter a little bit closer, but we'll keep it in the tree line. 2 evasion pips should be enough against these guys. And let's sensor lock you. What are you?
I've got a sensor lock.
Trebuchet. Huh. And we have a 4th coming in. 2 trebuchets. Yeah, I should have taken the 4 pickup here. Oh well, we'll roll with what we've got.
Good luck on the rolls.
Yeah, we will roll with what we've got. Alright, so first things first, who's more dangerous? Shadowhawk's the most dangerous mech there in total. Although, the Trebuchets, if they've LRM equipped Trebuchets, this is... yeah, we really need the fire starters to get over there and rip those 2 apart, just in case they want to start raining LRMs on us. Wolverine's closest, so it's going to start getting the pain first.
Engaging target.
Yes, the convoy escort via helicopter. I remember that. Yeah, it was a good
My
one.
old mama can hit harder than that.
There was a nice soft
Thank
landing
you.
in the middle of that one too. We took a nasty hit from flak, and I had to auto rotate the Cobra down, but we managed to get it sorted out and get it back in the air and get it back to base. And then I believe one of the Abrams was damaged, so we had to pick over to a transport helicopter. I can't actually remember what we were flying, and then we had to fly in some equipment to actually fix the Abrams and get it moving again. It was good. It's just unfortunate getting missions like that to actually operate required far more hours than you would actually spend playing the damn mission. That was Arma's biggest issue. There was just...
Damage minimal.
Which sucked, because the game itself I really like. Very fond of Arma. Koreans almost broke the Star League? Yes, they did.
Standing by. Rolling.
That was actually a mistake. I was moving the wrong mech. Oh shit, that's not good. At least it's still in the tree line. Yeah, that was a huge mistake. What the fuck was I thinking? God damn.
Engaging target.
That was terrible.
Attack failed.
Yeah, it
Sounding
did.
like a one-man version of Statland Waldorf right now.
Yeah, I need to get that. Yeah, I screwed that up. That's bad. That's bad.
Skipper.
Alright.
Lifting off.
Get onto these trebuchets.
I'm on him.
To get into the rear. Alright, so the trebuchets have head protection. We got an injury avoided popped up then. They've got life support systems. The reinforced life support systems or the protective cage installed in the head units to give the pilots additional health points, which is not good. That's going to be a pain in the ass to deal with.
Okay.
Alright, so they're going to continue exchanging shots from here with the Wolverine and the... Wolverine and the Shadowhawk over here. The next round I've got to get beach ball to the other side. Get the Shadowhawk up front so it starts taking some hits.
Engaging target.
We've nearly called out the Wolverine. I actually remember watching a video on Arma 3, it was really fun. Or was it Arma 2 Operation Arrowhead or Arma 3 with the Afghanistan map converted into a mod and imported into it? It was Arma 3. It was Arma 3. The map itself may have come from Arma 2, but it was ported over, but it was Arma 3. I do
Commander?
have played Arma 2, but I've never done anything online with it, ever. So... Oh god, I can't quite get there. Although that's risky. Yeah, that's not worth it for firepower on target. Nah.
Yup.
Waiting for orders.
We'll do the jump. We'll use just the medium lasers from the tree line, from the front. Have the evasion and the bonus.
Scored a critical hit.
Well, the ammo explosion got through whatever shielding was in that thing's head.
Confirmed.
Alright. Risky, but worth it.
Acknowledged.
Alright.
Locking on. All weapon systems.
Another SRM ammo explosion.
Critical hit.
Which means the pilot's just taken another injury point. So the trench bucket's just about done. Alright, so we have to deal... I'm almost thinking... Actually, I am thinking we will disengage. Disengage from the Shadowhawk.
All right.
There we go. Pilot bailed out. Alright, so that's one mech out of play.
Damage minimal.
Alright. Now I'm not going to be able to get a really good line of sight on anyone except the Shadowhawk. So we'll play from the tree line. And get a single evasion pip there, and we can still get shots into the Shadowhawk. Pretty sure I don't have any Shadowhawk parts at the moment because I spent them to build the one I've got now, and I don't think I've encountered too many. They've been surprisingly rare in this end of space. Still, I'll take anything here. I'm pretty sure I've got some parts for a trebuchet fighting around though, so the trebuchet recovery is actually quite possible in this one, especially since there's two of them. So even if I just call them both out, there's two parts off the field here. Alright, so... yeah, let's max jump.
Acknowledge.
And we'll work on that Wolverine next. We know we've only got one part of it, and I'm not too concerned whether we get that or not.
Reporting critical hit.
My big thing is I want to remove this this trebuchet's ability to continue raining LRMs on us, because that can cause us issues.
Skipper.
Since it's already moved, though, we may... really want to keep... it's giving my back to the enemy. But it's already had its move. And we should have our next move before it does. Yes, we should. I just have to make sure he's the first one moved.
Reporting. Critical hit.
That could have been better. Structure exposed, okay.
I'm here. There. Okay.
Alright, focus on the Wolverine. We haven't... Range is the issue here. The SRMs are not even worth firing. We've only got a 52% chance to hit. 82% on the trench bucket, though. Or did the Shadowhawk do what I just think the Shadowhawk did? I think the Shadowhawk did. Yep, we're going to do this. We've got enough. Let's do precision strike. Let's go for the leg.
All weapons committed.
Miss with the AC5.
Waiting for orders.
Alright.
Orders.
So Phantom has to be the first one moved here. And again, we're going to do a jump. Land in behind. God, we're going to have
Copy
shots on
that.
both of them. Go for the rear shot on the trebuchet.
Here we go.
Gyro destroyed, engine
Critical
shielding
hit.
crit. And that's a knockdown. Alright. Pilot injured. We'll take that.
Standing by.
Now beach ball.
Copy that, Commander.
And jump up. Take advantage of the fact that it's been downed.
Firing all weapons.
Right, so we're separating off into a
I'm
Shadowhawk
okay
versus Shadowhawk
for
and a
now.
Wolverine versus Wolverine
What
fight here at the
now?
moment. After the fire starters have basically mauled the arse out of the entire back line. You're starting to see why I keep those things around now instead of
Affirmative.
jumping to some of the slightly heavier mechs that we've got. Those fire starters are they're good. They're real good.
Hope this is enough.
Hip destroyed.
Maybe things are looking up.
Oh, that's the other thing with BEX as well. You'll notice there's a lot of other things that are coming up on the damage marks. You know, things like hip damage, actuator damage, hand linkage damage. The damage models of each of the mechs have gotten a lot more complex. They actually carry a lot more internal components. As each of these components are destroyed or damaged in combat, it affects the certain abilities that the mech will have. Like if you destroy the arm actuators and the hand actuators, the amount of physical damage they're able to do in melee attacks is going to be reduced. Hip and leg and foot damage, even if it doesn't completely destroy the leg, will reduce the amount of distance that it's capable of moving. It'll also make the mech more prone to damage from falls. So if a building is blown out from underneath it, or if it tries to do a DFA, it's more likely that its whole leg is going to just fall off if it tries to pull it off. So it increases the complexity in that way as well. Alright, let's
Fun
get
with
in.
criticals.
Yes, fun with criticals. And...
All weapons committed.
Ooh. Ooh.
Enemy mech.
You didn't need that
Criticals is
interface,
what all
did
those
you?
MGs on the fire starters are good for.
Yeah, basically the lasers are supposed to melt through the armor. The MGs will strip armor off a target, but if you get through the armor, the idea is those MGs fill the hole with all sorts of nasty lead, and they ricochet around the inside of the mech and rip all the internals to pieces. Does a really good job of
And
it.
find themselves lodged in places where you don't want anything lodged.
Commander?
Yes, yep, that is the basic idea. On top of the ability to just straight strip evasion pips off enemy mechs and just deny them. Oh, we're going to do another... That's going to be too far out. This is a really shitty position to jump from. Honestly, I might as well just move over and just take the 2, to be honest.
This should be good. But that hurt.
Things like that, engine shielding crit, that's damaging the reactor shielding for the mech, which means they will start generating more heat as they're operating, and they'll also have higher difficulty losing heat. So their heat tolerance and heat endurance in combat will be significantly reduced. Alright, so this is going to be a shot into the open if I want to keep the rear arc. So we'll do the jump jets for 3. And let's...
Firing.
Hopefully this finishes off the trebuchet. It doesn't! This one's hanging on, but the pilot is packing shit at the moment.
He's probably close to, get me out of here.
And Wolverine is an old IS mech. Yeah, Wolverine's been around for centuries. No clan stuff yet. Yeah, it's currently only the late 3020s, heading into the 3030s. So we're just starting to see the first stuff that comes out of the Helm memory core. Helm has just happened. So we've seen the very first early tech that's been released from that. So resurgent Innosphere Star League era tech. But nothing major or significant yet. The most significant thing at the moment being the Raven, really, more than anything else. Although it's pre-Helm upgrade, so...
All weapons committed.
There we go. AC5 ammo explosion, left torso,
Enemy
left arm
mech.
destroyed.
Critical damage detected.
The very first clan stuff will start showing up in the northern section of the Inner Sphere at right in December if we're in the periphery of 3049. Otherwise, you'll be looking at it in early January, February 3050 is when they'll start.
Hey,
It'll start popping up and we'll start getting the first of the forces. The Wolf's Dragoons, however, are operating already. We have run into those.
copy. Targeting. For now, strike.
Didn't they try to headhunt one of your pilots?
But that hurt.
Yes, actually. Hey, he finally works out to turn around and stop giving me his back armor.
Warning. Armor low.
It's alright, the Shadowhawk can take a little bit more. I
Waiting
built it
for
to
orders.
be able to tank frontally. That's kind of what it does. Alright,
Lifting off.
Beach Ball, you're going to finish off the trebuchet. Or you're going to somehow manage to miss everything, but the pilot bailed out. Okay, cool. Fair enough.
Confirm.
Don't care how it happens, as long as it happens. Not picky.
Affirmative.
Right, the Wolverine is distracted at the moment, so one evasion pip should be sufficient since it has no backup.
All weapons. Go. Reporting. Critical hit.
I'm here. Moving to position.
Fusion is a new Bohemia interactive games engine for Arma Reforger and Arma 4. It's extremely powerful and extremely capable. It runs smooth as butter, 4K native max settings on my PC. Excellent. The engine was the issue with Arma 3 more than anything else. So almost all of its stability issues came back to that. I remember trying to run it when it first came out, and I had a PC that was pretty up to date at the time, and
If you say so.
it was almost to the level of the old Can It Run Crisis
look-
meme. Like, it was not good. And the pilot fails out too, so that leaves just a Shadowhawk. So if they've got themselves a good engine to work as a basis this time, this is good news, because we know they can build a fantastic game. Arma 3 is a fantastic game, no question. So if the engine is fantastic, this is gonna be a wonderful Arma 4. And I will pick up the Arma Reforger at some point as well, even if just out to fill my own curiosity. No, the naming decision regarding the catapult versus the trebuchet has always irked me a bit. Well, consider this. The reason why the Timberwolf has the inner sphere name Mad Cat is because the targeting computer, when it was first encountered on its very first encounter, couldn't work out whether or not the Timberwolf was a marauder, Mad, or a catapult, Cat. Switch the names of Marauder and Trebuchet around and then start trying to mouth out the word that the computer would have come up with the name of that mech. I am perfectly happy with the naming convention being where it is, because Mad Cat is a cool name. Mad Treb, not so much.
Engaging target.
Alright, this guy's about to have a really bad day, because
Commander?
everybody's about to start arriving on his location.
Targeting for an alpha strike. Critical hit, Commander.
Another thing about the Trebuchet Catapult confusion, the assault class vomit mech called the Longbow. Yes, this is true. Although I think
Orders?
Actually, I can't remember when the Longbow was built. I think it's newer. So to be fair, what do you call a long-range mech when you're trying to go for that kind of medieval weapons, type vibe, when Trebuchet and Catapult have already been taken? You're starting to run into limitations there, without getting
You
into
could go with the bombard.
Copy that.
That's true. Pilot injured. Is he going to bail? Yep, he bailed. Okay, so with the entirety of the enemy force eliminated, now let's go in here and pick up our person, and you're in the right area. Hold position and force a scientist to board one of the mechs. So we just brace everybody for a
I'll
turn.
vent some heat.
The asset is in hand, Commander. Good work.
And done. God, I love those fire starters. It's actually going to be hard to let them go. Those fire starters are just so good. So good. I'm going to have to build some pretty wicked dragons to replace those when we start getting up into the heavy and assault class. So, we only get 10,000 for that after drop fees, but that's not what we're here for. One of the fire starters took a very small amount of damage when it got pegged across the back shoulder. And that's it. Nothing else for that mission. Alright, so we have no trebuchet components in stock. We have one Wolverine, no trebuchet. Well, I was sure we had parts of a trebuchet floating around, but now we've got 3, so that's good. So that's a full mech recovery. Well, would be a full mech recovery, but we need 4 with this mod. And we're going to have rolls on the rest. I have one part of the Wolverine, so I could take 2 and take the Wolverine and still wind up on 3 components. We'll roll on the rest. Yeah, we'll roll on the rest. Let's see what happens. Alright, so we got the Shadowhawk, and we got one of the Wolverine components. No, we got both. We cleaned up everything except the LRM ammo. The LRM ammo was the only thing we left behind. We got every single other significant component. So that was 9.5 million in salvage, and that brings us up to 3 parts Wolverine, 3 parts Trebuchet, 2 parts Shadowhawk. So the next time we encounter a Trebuchet or a Wolverine, regardless of what happens, we will be recovering one. And we need to, worst case scenario, blow up and core 2 Shadowhawks, and we can have another one of those. This is not bad. I will take this, and our damage, like our repair bill, is going to be next to nothing. So, this is good. Gregory, everybody here is so friendly, courteous, and all have great taste in games. What a pleasure to hang out and watch. Kick-ass and BattleTech with BEX mod active. Oh, what a lovely, lovely day. I'm glad you like it here, man. We try and keep a good community on this end of the world. You should come and join us on the Discord. The Discord's been around for years, and it's pretty much built like, well, it's pretty much like my chat. Everybody here in my chat is probably on my Discord, so... yeah, come join, meet, talk. Right, so yeah, the fire starter was the only thing that took any damage whatsoever, and it's going to cost us $3 to fix it after that mission. So that worked out really well. No actual full mech recovery off that battlefield, but I'm not complaining. Don't forget to mention the BattleTech MG calibers range from 12.7 up to 30-ish millimeters. You don't want one of those anywhere near. Yeah, that's been played around with a little bit. The general accepted rule is the majority of MGs are all MGs in BattleTech are 50 cal, so they're all 12.7s. Because MGs aren't really actually designed for usage against mechs. They're designed primarily as anti-infantry, because while BattleTech here doesn't include it, infantry is actually a major component of the BattleTech tabletop. And mowing down people with MGs is absolutely a thing that tends to get sidestepped in all the video games. Unfortunately, I wish that wasn't the case. Generally, anything 30-ish millimeters would be in the AC2 category. Now, the autocannons in size can be a bit odd in how they're sized out, because it's not based on caliber. The classification AC2, AC5, AC10, AC20 is not necessarily based on caliber. It can be based on... there's a couple of factors. I can't actually remember what they all are off the top of my head right now, but to be fair for me, it is past 2 in the morning, so it's nearly 2:30 in the morning. But it can be based on burst mass is one of the factors, and also velocity can also be a factor in whether or not what a weapon is classified as. But the general rule of the thumb is AC2s can be anything between 20mm and up to 50mm. AC5s can be anything from 30mm up to 100mm. AC10s can be anything from around 60mm up to nearly 200mm. And AC20s can get... I think the snub nose AC20s are damn near 250mm mortars that are mounted in the chest. But they can also go down to being rapid fire 155mm guns. You'd have to look up the exact numbers. There is a table floating around that has them all, but there's a range of calibers that fit within each of the classifications based on how much they throw out the front and the velocity it gets thrown out at the front, and that can be the variance. I think MGs were that way as well for a while now, but I think they've almost retconned that back to just being a 50 cal. there are 50 cal. Various velocities of 50 cal. There are supposed to be different types. Here in the BattleTech game, it's just MG. In the tabletop, there are various brands that have different calibers, that have different fire rates, cyclic rates, and ranges, effective ranges, accuracy, all that kind of bullshit, depending on how you want to build your mechs. So, but they're generally all 50 cal, is the category they're in. For fun, Marauder 2 Mad 5A. Yes, that's a nice mech. So leftovers of the Wolverines, unofficial. Yes, that's the name I'm going for at the moment. Is not necessarily the leftovers of Clan Wolverine, but potentially descendants that are now mercenaries in the Inner Sphere. And yes, it is unofficial. It's just something I wanted to have a bit of a play with when I started the series, just to see how many people would pick up the name. So congratulations, you're one of a handful that have recognized McEvities for what it is. Are you doing any flashpoints? I am looking for them at the moment. The only flashpoints that have been popping up at the moment have been well beyond my tonnage capability at this point, unfortunately. Fury Courier, 100-ton mech, 19 tons of armor, 2 PPCs, 2 medium lasers, and jump jets. Yep. Don't think the Mad 5A is in the mod. Not sure. You'd have to check. Well, I was heading off to bed, but just caught you live for the first time. Wow. The VOD's going to be here, man. And we're actually at the end of the stream now anyway. That was our last battle for the night. That's why I'm catching back up on chat. And at them, we'll probably... Yeah, I think I'll save building the Hunchback out for the next one. We'll build it out at the start of the next stream, which I'm probably going to do tomorrow night. And then we'll make our way to our next world. So we'll leave everything sit as it is at the moment. I'm pretty happy where we're at. We've had a couple of good streams here. The Bombad is also a mech. Longbow is a pretty old mech, to be honest. Well, to be fair, the Catapult is a really old mech as well. The Trebuchet is a really old mech as well. None of these are new.
Meanwhile, I'm having a G thanks Gaijin moment.
You're playing War Thunder.
Yeah, I just got a 10% discount on the Independent.
Oh, yeah. Excellent. Yes, I love those. Here's a little discount. We're going to give you 10% off this thing you're going to have to pay us money for. No, fuck off.
It's also, of course, time limited.
Oh, yes, of course. The longbow could be named the Ballista. Yeah, that's actually a good name. I like that. I'm surprised that's not taken, to be perfectly honest. We could outfit a dragon with even more MGs. Probably wouldn't do the MG thing with the dragon. I've got a couple of builds that I use the MG use for dragons, but all those builds are based around my usage timer for vanilla BattleTech, where I generally don't keep the dragons for too long. Not because I have any problems with them. Actually, I'm quite fond of the dragons, as I mentioned in the Twitch stream for MechWarrior 5 earlier on tonight. But more because the way vanilla BattleTech is balanced, you want to get into the heavier tonnages as fast as you possibly can. The way BEX is balanced, having a scout pilot in a dragon might actually be really viable for a long-term mech. For like a general purpose scout for an assault lance, rather than bringing out something incredibly light like the Raven, which will be very specific and be set up for very particular lance builds. So I might have to come up with something new for long-term operation of a dragon as a scout for a potential assault lance. I finally got my MG Porcupine in my playthrough long after I should be using it, but I still sometimes bring it out as a scout. Yeah, if you're playing vanilla BattleTech, which I believe the last time we were talking, Sultan, you mentioned you were, yeah, you will lose. The Firestarter's effectiveness loses very quickly. If you ever switch over to BEX, BEX mod, like you've seen what they can do on mine. They are definitely worth having. I was going to mirror your build completely, but something weird happened. I have the same variant as you, but I have more different max armors. Mine can mount more. Okay, that's odd.
Different mod version?
It could be a difference in vanilla. They might have changed some of the internals. So they did change some of the weight internals of the mechs as well, because they weren't exactly correct. So they adjusted them as part of the mod. Check the stores. Medium mech parts are rather cheap. Oh, no, they're not. No, they're not. We can bring this one up right now. Alright, so partial mech salvage. A single catapult C1 component for a 65 ton is 888,000. A fire starter, single part of a fire starter, partial mech salvage, 492,000. Keep in mind, that is more than I could sell the entire complete mech for if I had one. 750,000 for a Griffin. Phoenix Hawk, Thunderbolt, Victor, Vulcan, Wasp. It's 240,000 for one part of a Wasp. And the black market gets worse because the pilots, I've been pissing off the pirates a lot. So, yeah, for one part of a 95-ton Banshee, it's 11.5 million. So, no, single parts, not cheap. Like, if we had one, we could absolutely do it if it was urgent. It's not that urgent. Gregory, we'd be happy to join the Discord. Thanks for the invite. Wow, it's always open and you're most welcome. Somerset Housecow, original trebuchets weren't counterweighted, but a man pulling on ropes to launch the payload, so it didn't do much damage as a torsion catapult. So it sort of makes sense. Sorry my nerdishness is showing. No, Somerset, that's actually really interesting.
Always show your nerdishness.
Yes, always. Always show your nerdishness at all times. In fact, it's damn near mandatory around here. You're watching somebody whose entire... Well, the whole reason you're watching me at the moment is because I nerd out about BattleTech and shit like this. And various other fantasy worlds and parts of history. It's the entire
And the only reason you have a channel is you nerded out about planes in the beginning.
Yes, and still do. Like... We're near 10 years on, approaching 10 years on. It'll be 10 years next year of MagzTV, and I'm still nerding out about planes. Nothing has changed. The AC number is based on range and damage. On the tabletop rules and how they're deployed, yes. The in-law reason for it is different. And it comes down to, yeah... And the problem is because of the literature. Okay, so this is where BattleTech runs into its problems. On the tabletop rules, AC number is based on range and damage. Yes, that's how it's defined in the tabletop rules, and it makes complete sense. The general rule is the higher the damage, the shorter the range, the larger your AC number is. 20s, you want to get closer to the target, but they do monstrous damage. 2s do less damage, but you can snipe with them from half a table away. The problem is, after BattleTech got popular in the very late 80s when it was first created, people started writing books. And the books were accepted into law. But there was no defined ruling on a lot of these factors, like how big is an AC2? How big is a AC10? And so the law itself, which is all considered canon, has various size calibers for various different weapons defining what they are that don't make sense. And this still continues to this day. So how do you get around that? Well, you make the size of the weapon... The tabletop's easy to cover for its rule purposes, but how do you explain it in law? Well, you make something other than caliber the defining feature of what classifies the weapon. So you look into something else. So what is something else that can be, that isn't defined in any of the literature that's been written, that can be used to define a weapon that isn't caliber, that will make everything within the law make sense? And this is what they came up with. It comes down to the speed of the projectile and the mass of the projectile. And I think there's a couple of other things that they've used to sort of try and explain it away. It's the same issue as the in-law reasons that get bounced around for the tonnage of mechs. Like, let's just explain this one. An Atlas The Atlas. Monstrous mech. Everybody loves an Atlas. Dominates on the battlefield. Weighs 100 tons. A main BattleTech weighs 50 tons before they started bolting all the shit on it. In fact, I think the Leopard 2 or the Abrams with all its shit on it at the moment is bolted up to, what, 70 tons? And it's about the size of the foot of the Atlas. At the scale the Atlas is, at 100 tons, if you threw it in water, it would float. The tonnage doesn't make sense for the size and scale of the mech. It doesn't actually make sense once you think about it from a realistic point of view. So
just to put this into perspective, the Panzerkampfwagen 8 Maus would have been 188 tons.
Yes. So how do you get around this? Well, parts of law, and this is still not 100% solidified in law, but they get parts I've seen is the tonnage of a mech is defined on the weight not of the chassis itself, but of the internal components that are contained within it. Another one I've seen is the size of the mech is not defined by the weight of the chassis itself, but it's actually the size of the power plant. So it's not the Atlas that's 100 tons. The fission reactor in it is 100 tons. The Atlas is whatever the Atlas weighs. This doesn't translate at all to the tabletop rules, but it's how you try and get around something that has the density of a sponge being a combat machine. And this is, again, something that's just... It's just a part of BattleTech that they try and get around. So this is... You know, a writer... At some point, a writer has to try and explain how this monster weighs this much, and they need an excuse. And so there's... another one was the weight standard is not 1G. So the Atlas does weigh 100 tons on the moon, because for some reason they weigh mechs based on lunar gravity and not Earth gravity, standard gravity. You know, shit like that. There's been a few different ways of trying to explain around that problem, but actually I think somebody worked out that for 100 tons at the size and scale of the Atlas, the density of the Atlas would actually be lighter than a normal sponge that you would use to clean a car. But yeah, basically an Atlas would float on water.
So, Mech Jesus confirmed.
So yeah, just
he
another
has come
fun
to
part of
redeem
the
our
universe.
sins.
So the number of AC is based upon armor and damage per shot burst. The Blackjack is AC2s are 40mm, the Vulcan Sport 60mm AC2s. The biggest confirmed cannon caliber is 203mm with the AC20. I'm pretty sure it's higher than that. I would advise to build an AC10 Hunchy. Well, I'd actually have to get a Hunchback that actually can fit an AC10. The one I've got at the moment's a laserback, so it's only got medium lasers, or it's got laser slots all in that torso. So I will have to get another chassis in order to be able to get one that I can put the autocannon in, its standard one. And I wouldn't mind getting one of the J models that actually has the LRMs in it as well, because that could be fun. Build a Dragon as a high-speed melee in vanilla. Yep, you can do that. They've got really good... Well, actually, that's one of the things I normally do with mine. Their melee capability of dragons is really good. You stack up their armor, put a bunch of SRMs on them. On their closing range, you unload the SRMs into them to peel the armor off the target, and then you run in and punch them in the face. Works really well. To be fair, it was my first very specific mission, and I wanted a high-speed jump-capable vehicle stomper. Yeah, they work well for that. That's probably it. I'm still on vanilla. Yeah, that could be it. Yeah, because they did retune some of the mechs as well, because some of the mechs were not accurate. They also added components that didn't exist in vanilla into certain mechs. I think the Annihilator got a fairly serious overhaul. It depends. I mean, the entire term catapult is a broad catch-all. Yeah.
You could probably go with something like an Onaga or something like that as well.
Yeah, Naga is a mech in the BattleTech universe. This is the thing. They've got a lot of names they've got to bounce around as well, and not all the mechs were created in the order that they are supposed to exist in lore. So the lore the lore for BattleTech has a bit of a Star Wars problem in that regard.
It's
The
a bit
story.
fuzzy.
Well, it's not that. It's the story started at a particular point in time, and then they've had to write forward from that point in time, but they've also had to write backwards from that point in time as well, which means you've got to create older mechs.
Yeah.
Back to the
That's
first
one
battle
thing-
mech and explain the purpose, and so you get some odd naming conventions that might not make complete sense in how you might name them in real life, but it's because not all the mechs were made in the sequence that they were.
Yeah, I mean, not like real-world naming conventions are much more, well, useful.
In the tabletop, the AC2 is probably the worst weapon you can have, multiple times heavier than medium laser while doing the same damage and needs ammo on top. Yeah, the only redeeming factor on the AC2 as a general rule is range, and this is mostly true in this as well. There's a reason why most of my mechs have AC5s, and I don't put AC... If I've got an AC2 on a mech, you'll see me strip it off. I won't run an AC2. I'll run an AC5. I can... Preferably, I'd want some pluses beyond the end of that, but I will run an AC5 if I've got one available. AC2s... Nah, I'd rather find something else for the tonnage. I'll only use them if I have literally no other slots in the mech chassis that I can potentially put something in that will consume the weight of the AC2. Building an AC2 sniper mech just doesn't work. But you can. You can do that in the tabletop. And you can do it in this as well. It's just not really all that effective. Especially when you've seen how evasion works. Well, if the mech is moving at high speed at a long range, the chances of you ever hitting it when it's got an evasion bonus at high range with an AC2 is just really unlikely.
Good luck.
And then if you actually do manage to land, it basically tickles them. So, yeah, so that's probably true of the actual main game as well. The AC number depends on weapon weight, which is more or less consistent. Yeah, the M1A2 is about 66 standard tons. Yeah, and as I said, it's about the size of an Atlas's foot. And the Atlas is supposed to be 100 tons, so you see the problem. Yeah, old saying about BattleTech. Yeah, I thought the illustrations in the intro movie were pretty excessively tall for the weights. Yeah, the weight problem is actually the other way around. The original creators of BattleTech, when they were trying to work out how to define the mechs into weight classes, were the ones who originally gave them the weights from 0 to 100 tons and broke them down in the original rule set. They were the ones who defined it, which worked perfectly fine and logically from a tabletop standpoint to work out how to split things nice and evenly, but they never actually stopped and thought about how much would something that big actually weigh? It's 0 to 100 tons is a nice round number to make it very easy on a rule set for a tabletop. It starts to become a problem when you start trying to think about the actual physics behind it, which they never did, and that becomes a problem that the authors that are writing in the universe now have to try and address, especially these days, because in the 80s and 90s, funnily enough, people were a lot more willing to do the whole suspension of disbelief thing and just, okay, so this is the way it is in this universe and we'll just accept it as it is. These days, people are far, far more likely to sit back and actually work out what the density of something that is that big would be if it only weighed 100 tons. They'll sit back and they'll do the calculation just because they can. I mean, you guys know what the internet's like now and how people can be about certain things. Well, this is now a problem, and it's a problem that can't be addressed by changing what's already written, because you don't want to change the law. So you've got to try and work a way around the issue. But I'm willing to put this suspension of disbelief on and simultaneously know that some of the mechs in here are about the same weight to be the weight that they are for the size they are, have to be practically made of that air foam crap. You know, the lightest
Me,
no
I'm just
material
going with
event.
I'm just going with my internal logic of, well, there was probably some war on Earth that destroyed all the old measurements and weights, and they just knew that the term ton was out there, so they used it for something completely different.
Oh, I wish you could get away with that excuse, but Earth is one of the few places in the entire innosphere that has never been completely devastated, and all of the stuff in there still exists. Comstar headquarters, for the record, in case anybody's wondering, is based outside of Sydney, Australia, so that might explain why Comstar are such a pack of cunts. They're all Aussies.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense.
Yeah, even the range of the AC2 does not save it from the fact that all it does is tickle the target by being dead weight. Yeah, no, I agree. As I said, that's why I just don't use them. I'd probably be useful from a Total War rule set that has aerospace rules tacked on, while in strafing runs can start only 10 spaces away and go on 10 further. Actually, yeah, this is a good point. The AC2 would probably be useful if you had aerotech. Mounting an AC2 on a helicopter or a fixed-wing aircraft would actually be viable and would actually be effective. Unfortunately, aerotech rules are not included in any of the current games. But I think the only thing that's ever actually tried to deal with aerotech at all in BattleTech is MechWarrior Living Legends. They're the only ones that have ever actually addressed it. Which I have to check up the status of the Living Legends 2 mod. Old saying about BattleTech, never try and apply real-world logic to anything within the game. The problem is you kind of have to now. Now you've got to start trying to fill in all those plot holes because the internet is autistic to a fault. And I love it, but people will start working out all the bugs and they're going to want to know reasons why. Have I watched Tex Talks BattleTech every single time he releases a new video? And I've tried to catch some of the live streams that they do as well, or him and some of the boys do as well. I don't always have time to watch a lot, but every time he releases a video, I will sit back and watch it because he's the reason why I haven't started doing BattleTech lore videos. I was going to start doing I was going to start doing BattleTech lore videos, and you watch Tex's videos, and it's like, yeah, but why? Like he just does it better. Like, I was thinking about, and I'm still sort of considering doing a short 10-minute series, because his tends to be really long, which is not a bad thing, by the way. I can sit back and watch. If Tex released a 10-hour video talking about a fucking dropship in the BattleTech universe, I would sit there for 10 hours and watch it. And the only time that I would stop, I would pause it to take a piss and grab lunch, and then I would come back and watch it. Love his work. He's fantastic. If you haven't checked him out before, you absolutely should. I'm not sure what I could bring to the table because he's kind of nailed it in regards to how you should cover the BattleTech universe. He's also voice acted in a couple of the mods, and I think he's voice acting in a for YouTube animated series that somebody's making at the moment. I think I've caught part of an episode of it. I need to look that back up again though. The only AC2
Can't
platform...
wait to see that go to BattleTech Plus. Oh, wait, no, that won't happen.
Yes, no, we're not owned by Wargaming, not Wargaming, by the Games Workshop.
Yeah, but I wouldn't put it past Harmony Gold to try that shit.
Oh, they're out, though. They're dead. That doesn't matter. They're out.
Yeah, exactly, which is why I said, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's the two IP owners now are Catalyst Games for the tabletop component, and Microsoft for the video game component, which Microsoft leases the rights out to Piranha for the MechWarrior Online and MechWarrior 5 series, although they look like they're not renewing that license, and it's only got a year and a bit left in it. And they also extend the license for the BattleTech game to Harebrained Schemes.
Nice.
Because they're totally cool about that kind of stuff. Call it Star League Long Tons. Yeah, you get away with all sorts of interesting ways in lore of trying to explain around the problem, but it is a problem that has to be explained around. I just got the Jaeger mech. There's a couple of interesting things that pop up in it as well. The other one is... what is it? The Note Pewter in BattleTech lore. Okay, here's one for you. This is a fairly short one. I know this is dragging out a little bit here, but welcome to my streams. I talk a lot of shit about lore. I told you, nerding out is something that we do here. The Note Pewter, if you read through BattleTech lore, is a handheld computer that's about the size of a small laptop that integrates a touchscreen as well as a keyboard, allowing users to be able to take notes, to be able to watch videos and holovids, to be able to even play games on these things. Does it sound familiar to anything to you? Anything that you may have heard of before? Kind of like a tablet. The thing was, BattleTech first coined the term note computer in the late 80s. They essentially predicted the usage and applications of a modern tablet 20 years before somebody would make one. However, the way the note computer is described in BattleTech lore, it actually includes physical keys as well as a touchscreen, and is not completely screen-based. So now they're running into an issue in lore, is how do you work around the fact that they describe something so perfectly for what we would have, but what we have is actually more advanced than what they described. When the lore for BattleTech is meant to follow a logical path from our actual timeline. Everything that we're doing here actually exists in BattleTech lore.
Simple.
So,
in the BattleTech universe, the Nokia Engage was a smashing success. Done. Next!
yeah, but there's little parts of stuff like that that's actually popped up. That pops up through the lore all over the place. Although I do love the fact that, because there's the old meme that Star Trek predicted the modern smartphone and the modern tablet before they were created in the Next Generation and like sort of in like the Next Generation and Deep Space Nine Voyager period. No, BattleTech laid down the note computer design before the Next Generation series started. They predated it, and the way they described the note computer and what it was capable of doing is fucking identical to what we have on a modern tablet, outside of the fact that it can actually play hologram video rather than just 2D video on a screen. Otherwise, it is an exact, down to people playing games on them, people using them for communications, using them to access computer networks, to make notes, to being able to transfer data from one person to another. The works.
Meanwhile, the original Star Trek series predicted flip phones.
Yes, they got flip phones, right? Yeah. What I tend to do
I
with
am
Black
still
Chap-
a bit sad that no maker of flip phones ever came to the idea of just doing the fucking sound to the opening of the phone.
Well, it's because you could download the sounds and put them on there. I know, because I did it. My old Motorola flip phone used to have the tricorder sound from the original Star Trek on it whenever it opened. Yes, I'm a nerd. Black Chappies rip out the 13-ton AC2s and medium lasers by putting in 2 large lasers and a shitload of heat sinks. Really good early mech while running reasonably cool. Yeah, I've done builds like that before. That's not a bad option, that one. Spirit Fox, anyways, got to go to bed. 1 a.m. here and should be up early. Yeah, I should absolutely be in bed as well. So good night, Spirit Fox. You've probably already gone, but I'll make sure I say my goodbye now, just in case you come back to watch the stream later.
Good night, dude.
Watch the end of it. Sultan of Sig, you're really good at explaining BattleTech to new people. Texas videos assume a pretty heavy amount of prior knowledge. Well, it depends on which one you watch. If you watch some of his videos describe earlier BattleTech systems, like smaller stuff that you wouldn't be expected to understand and parts of the lore, and then there is some of his other videos that basically assume you've watched the previous videos and have a basic understanding of who different factions are and why they're important and why certain things have happened in order to get through to your next bit. I still haven't worked out exactly what to do there, but yeah, my recommendation still, watch Texas stuff. Absolutely worth your time. I love my job. Boss came in today and said we all need to do a large-scale test print on our Formlabs printer. We had some issues with prints over 22 hours. Guess who's printing a 30 centimeter high king crab? Oh, you bastard. Space Viking, I am envious. I am envious. 30 centimeter high king crab. Nice. That'll be nice. Make sure once it's complete, if the print goes right, please, if you're not already on my Discord, jump on my Discord, send me a picture. I want to see it. Because that's exactly the kind of shit that I want to actually make. The whole reason I want a 3D printer is so I can start parting out and printing out mechs to put models up on, because you can't buy them. You can't. Nobody makes display models for battle mechs that you can buy retail. You've got to either get somebody to 3D print them for you and pay for it, or you 3D print them yourself. So I want a 3D printer so I can print them myself. But yeah, make sure you send me a photo, Space Viking. Salt and a Stick, I like the size of the engine thing. That'll be my personal canon going forward. Yeah, well, as I said, that's not official. It's just one of the excuses that I've seen used to try and explain the problem of how do you explain the tonnage of a mech. There's a lot of other ways that it's been done as well. I don't think any of the lore has actually sort of settled on one option. I do like engine size as an option as well, although it does make the Atlas really scary when you consider that it's a 100-ton fission reactor by that lore that's sitting in the back of that thing. I mean, fission reactors, when they go critical, it doesn't cause a nuclear meltdown or a nuclear explosion, but it's still a really big reactor. That's a lot of reactor in something that walks and gets shot at. So the no pute thing is something like a gigantic BlackBerry. Yeah, kinda. Only, yeah, with a fully functional touchscreen in it, but described in like, what, 84, 85? And yeah, some of the pictures of them look a little bit odd, but there's multiple pictures of multiple different designs. I don't think there's a universal design for them. It's more the functionality. They usually include a physical keyboard. They include a holo projector, and they include a touchscreen that can be interfaced with. They can also be used to display data, and they can be used to essentially display do everything that you would do on a modern tablet, but described in the 80s. Frankly, the concept of a tablet was obvious and inevitable. It was just a matter of time and technology. Yeah, this is true, but still, it's just, yeah. Star Trek. My God, you've done it. Now grab my flame suit. Look, it just rolls better than Star Trek. At least through the Australian accent. I was wondering why they're using ablative armor in BattleTech and how it works in game. It strips off. That's a really bad choice because it's not really good against direct impact. It's what it's built out of. There's actually a couple of armor types in BattleTech lore, and this is sort of the. It's kind of sort of the explanation that you would have for the pirate mechs always being so low on. The game's example is, they are damaged mechs. But some of these mechs are supposed to be active in the field and have been getting repairs and maintenance, so why are they damaged? The primary armor of the BattleTech universe is ferrofibrous armor, which is a carbon diamond steel composite that is designed to ablate. Now, the reason it's designed to ablate instead of building something that is solid is the reason why the cheaper armor option that is often used by those who can't afford the proper armor is slab rolled homogeneous steel, which is kind of what we use as base armor now. It's basic steel armor. The problem with basic steel armor is when you hit it with an energy weapon, it bores a hole straight through the armor into what's inside. And the insides of a battle mech are actually relatively delicate, which include things like, functioning fission reactors and cooling systems that stop these reactors from blowing up and creating miniature stars on the battlefield. And by miniature stars, I'm not talking about a shape on the ground. I'm talking about the big burny thing in the sky. That's what happens when a fission reactor goes critical. The mech overheats, and the mech itself is basically partially vaporized as the fission reaction goes out of control and causes a thermal discharge in the thousands of Kelvin. Hot enough that it actually causes the air immediately around the mech to combust and then throws off a heat wave that can cause even nearby mech's armor to start to melt and them to start overheating due to the heat wave of the reactor going off. Generally, bad things happen. So in order to bypass a universe where weapons have enough power to go through feet of traditional armor in a single shot in the case of some weapons, the composite armor that is used is designed to ablate as it throws while yes, it means the armor wears down on the mechs over time, the heat impacts and then spreads and ablates a surface layer off and leaves more of the armor underneath. So every time you hit, it's kind of like having to deal with a heat shield. Why do they use ablative heat shields on re-entry vehicles on spacecraft? Same basic idea. As the surface area ablates, new layers are exposed, which can then absorb more energy, which then ablate, and then new areas are exposed, and it takes longer to get through. In the long run, it means you actually can run out of armor and be completely exposed. But if you have just a solid form, you're going to be able to burn a hole directly through the armor, and that hole is going to remain there and allow anything that follows to go in. So that's the theory behind it. In a world where energy weapons that can generate hundreds to thousands of degrees worth of temperature in pinpoint spots are the primary weapon that is used by the majority of people, having an armor system that is designed to ablate and still actually cover and where the weapon systems aren't carrying just a turbine or something that consumes fuel, a combustion engine inside of it, but are in fact carrying a functioning reactor. It's better to have armor that long-term in sustained combat you'll actually run out of armor as it all ablates, but in short-term is going to take an impact and only going to lose a surface layer rather than have a hole punch cleanly through it by one of the weapon systems. That's where they went with it. And then there's variants on that as well. There's reactive and reflective armor. So you've got reflective armor, which is a variant of ferrofibrous armor that is designed to be more highly resistant in regards to energy weapons by increasing its crystalline structure, but it makes it more vulnerable to shattering to kinetic weapons. Alternatively, you have reactive armor, which is it carries a higher defense versus kinetic weapons, but it's more vulnerable to just being torn apart by energy weapons. And so you have to select between which combination you're going to use. And it isn't actually uncommon against those either active Great House militaries or extremely well-funded mercenary units to change their armor loadouts, not just by weight, but by type, depending on what type of engagement or battle they're going into. Because if you're going into a fight where you know the enemy's almost all going to be carrying energy weapons, well, yank all the standard armor off and put reflective armor all over the mech and be done with it. Sent a stream of the hired steel guys with the BattleTech designer from the back in the day, and he said that the drone makes sense. The only reason they aren't common in canon BattleTech is because they weren't around in the 80s. Yeah, I've seen the drone. I actually like the drone. I like the drone as being I like the drone being a potential fitted option on most battle mechs as a way for the pilot to be able to examine the externals of their own mech while they're in combat. I like the drone as an option. But you're right, they're not there in the 80s, and that's why they weren't more prevalent, but they absolutely should be. Star Trek OST, communicator opening, synth bell chime sound effect, all my old Nokia flip phones and later Motorola phones feature, it was late 90s to early 2000s. Nice. If it works, we'll for sure, but it will be at least Friday. That's all right. I'm not going anywhere. I'm always here. In the 1860 steam train doesn't have an actual reactor either. I still wouldn't like to be in the same zip code as such thing when it blows up. Yeah, this is fair. This is fair. Some of the photos of steam engines that have gone. Actually, I think critical. I think critical is the appropriate word. There's a famous one that blew up, and it looks like some kind of eldritch abomination after it. It's like the pipes hanging out of it. It looks great. Endo steel skeleton armor. Taking damn another stream. We are blessed. Well, I expect many more. In fact, I'm planning on streaming again tomorrow night. Even though it's 3 a.m., I will be streaming tomorrow night. There won't be a video tomorrow, but there will be another stream. Ablative, solid RHA, basically. Yeah, pretty much. That's your slab steel. And that's your cheapest armor that you can get. And that's generally what pirates will use, pirate factions will use, because proper ferrofibrous armor is expensive. It's really expensive. And there are different grades of it as well on how well it's put together. So when you're in the field, just slab steel armor is just easier to come by. And in most cases, when you're a pirate faction and you're basically raiding farmers and small police and small militia units out in the periphery, you don't need anything more than that. It's when a mercenary unit shows up with 50 to 100 tons of battle mechs that suddenly that slab armor's not quite so useful anymore. Regarding the armor discussion, that's why pulse lasers are more accurate than standard beam lasers, since it's unaffected by the vapor cloud of superheat against the mech armor. Yep. It also allows pulse lasers. It's also why pulse lasers will often do more damage, because they will pulse, vaporize the first layer of the ablative armor, and then the second pulse will hit the layer that's underneath. And usually they have 2, 3, 4 pulses, depending on the weapon system, and each pulse will actually dig deeper into the armor and ablate more of it in a single burst for the energy that's actually expended. That's how they get the higher damage ratings on something where you would think, oh, a solid beam just throwing energy in would do more damage, right? No, the pulse is to pulse through the ablative armor and actually dig in underneath. Rainmaker, well, that explains things. I would have loved to nerd out on other things, but we have to fall asleep now, especially us from the east. Yes, I will have to do that too. 2:40 a.m. going strong, loving the in-depth explanations. Well, as I said, this is common here. Go watch any of my streams. This is basically how they all end. I usually wind up talking for 45 minutes to an hour about random shit. I like this. This is why I enjoy streaming a lot more than I do videos these days. Although I still enjoy doing videos. It's just, I get to do this.
Question,
nuclear reactor. Yep. Go tell.
What's your stream plan for tomorrow? What are you going to stream?
I'll be streaming BattleTech again.
Okay.
I was going to stream. This stream was going to be tomorrow's stream, but we finished off the MechWarrior 5 Twitch stream, and it was only midnight, and I thought, I got a few more hours in me let. So this
Fair
one
enough.
became a thing, and so there'll be a stream tomorrow night as well. So there'll be a double hit of BattleTech. But then again, I only got one in last week, so I'm making up for things.
Yeah.
I mean, a nuclear
I was
reactor is just a
wondering whether
fancy
or not
steam
we're
turbine.
gonna.
Go.
Was wondering whether or not we're gonna kill some zombies.
Not yet. Saturday, hopefully.
Okay, cool.
Make that a Saturday. Saturday seems to be the day where I'm looking at doing either 40k stuff or something else. So we'll make that a Saturday thing, and I might stream that then, because I'm gonna have to do some tests on that one too first to see if that works. Oh, that was loud.
Sure. Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay. Kurituri, I mean, a nuclear reactor is just a fancy steam turbine. Look at Pripyat and Fukushima. Yeah. Well, there's a little bit more to it than that in regards to meltdowns. I don't know where I've put it now. I did do a massive explanation on exactly how the fission reactors in BattleTech. I wrote it out for somebody who asked about it, and I can't remember where I put it now. An actual explanation on how the fission reactors in BattleTech work, and both what the results are when you see one that actually goes critical, what you're actually seeing, and how it varies from a nuclear reactor going critical. But the long and short of it, Fission reactions are generally generating energy off thermal, but it's not using a steam turbine or anything like a nuclear reactor would be. It's directly off the fission reaction itself. It doesn't have much in the way of nuclear material or what would be considered radioactive material in them, the way they work in the BattleTech universe, which is based on how they should work in real life if we ever get one going. There is a small amount of material that is used to start the reaction, but once the reaction is actually operating, it's hydrogen is the primary fuel that actually drives the reactor's operation. And the risk of what happens when the reactor overloads isn't a massive blow of radiation in terms of nuclear radiation, what we used to gamma rays and all that kind of bullshit. The shit we get out of a modern nuclear reactor during a meltdown that makes areas uninhabitable. There's actually very little in the way of radiation, like ambient radiation, that remains after a mech goes critical. What does happen, however, is the thermal energy is off the charts. When I say we're talking about the temperature of a sun going off on the battlefield, I'm not kidding. When a mech reactor goes critical, the reason why when a mech goes critical, it's almost unrecoverable for salvage, or very little of it is recoverable, it's because the majority of the mech is incinerated by the heat of its own reactor. It liquefies and atomizes most of its internal structure and most of its armor. The mech itself vaporizes in the explosion. Small parts remain. The small parts that remain, more often than not, are turned into fragmentation shards as the explosion goes off and are thrown around like a mech-sized fragmentation grenade in all directions, shredding everything, including other battle mechs that are near it. And then the thermal shockwave that comes off it, which is in the thousands of degrees, washes over mechs that are nearby, and immediately overloads all of their heat sinks, as well as scorching and melting all of their armor, potentially causing their own reactors to fail and them to, at the very least, shut down, potentially to overload and go critical themselves. A tight group of mechs, with one going critical in the middle of them, can potentially chain reaction an entire lance and turn them all into essentially a giant thermal fragmentation grenade. So, yeah, they're a little bit different, but they're not. The long-term effects are significantly less. Once everything stopped burning and glowing from the heat and temperature, you can walk into an area where a mech's gone critical and you're not going to die of radiation poisoning. That's perfectly fine. When you're near one, well, you don't want to be. Simple as that. You don't want to be.
It's like sunbathing. You can do it when the sun is like 8 light minutes away.
And Def's try and catch tomorrow's stream a little bit earlier. Yeah, well, I'll be streaming probably tomorrow at about 9:30. I'll be starting at 9:30, 10 o'clock. So it'll be an earlier start as well. Those explosions just come from really hot steam. Yep. Those are fission reactors. These are fusion. Yeah. God, I have to leave before the internet starts talking about nuclear engineer. But I thought the game said the reactors are fusion. Yeah, sorry, yeah. It is past 3 a.m., guys, and I'm running everything off memory here. I don't have the books open in front of me. I'm just... I'm assuming everybody's catching up with what I'm meaning here. Yes. Anyways, good night. About to pass out if I don't hit the bed. Yep, that's a smart move. I'm about to do the same thing. Almost like a thermobaric frag then. Yeah, pretty much. That's basically the effect. It's why whenever you watch somebody play Mech Warrior and you see a mech go down and it starts glowing, everybody turns away and runs away from that mech. That's why.
Remember, kids, it's powerful enough to blow your lungs right out.
Yeah. When the mech starts falling over and starts glowing white in the center, you don't want to be near it. Nothing good comes of that. Meanwhile, somewhere in the USA, some CIA agents try to figure out our target. Things go from solid to gas in a millisecond. Yep, pretty much. Guess no stream for me tomorrow then. Almost didn't catch this one. Ah, that's a shame.
Well,
Yeah.
you can always catch the VODs, and I
Yeah.
mean, if you have questions to Mags, join the Discord.
Yeah,
Bugger the cunt there.
Yeah, I'm always floating around and answering questions. Like I'm in all the chats in Discord far often than I should be. Pop me a question any time. I'm always willing to answer and to talk some shit. And yeah, otherwise the VODs will be on. The whole reason I've switched everything over to YouTube here is because, well, I've explained that in the past, but also everything I was releasing on YouTube anyway. So it just makes it easier if I stream it here. Mags, do mechs have dumb AI to shut down reactors when a mech is destroyed? Yes, there are safeties and systems to shut down a mech, both when the reactor temperature is getting too high, and so it needs to shut down the reaction in order to actually bleed off heat and give the mech time to actually cool off. That is a thing. Those systems, however, also have direct override options inside of the cockpit that the pilots can flick at any time they want. They are not. It's not an AI so much as it just a temperature safety system, and a bunch of basic safety systems, and they can be overridden. You can turn them off. So for the most part, when the mech is shot and its reactor isn't going critical, the reactor will just shut down on its own. The safety systems, there's no reason to override those, although they can be. And they have been certain times in some of the lore stories where people have intentionally turned their battle mechs into suicide bombs. And they did flick those switches to override. The one that is often done, however, is the automatic shutdown, automatic overheat shutdown, which most of the MechWarrior games, and even in this as well, you have the option to ignore it, to bypass it, and in the MechWarrior games, you actually have a button to override shutdown. But what happens if you keep firing when you go beyond the maximum threshold, when the system is trying to tell you to turn off your mech? Well, it can blow up. Usually the first thing that happens is the internal temperature of your mech gets high enough that it starts to cook off its own ammunition reserves. If you're in a mech that doesn't have ammunition reserves, it gets high enough to it starts cooking off the mech itself. I should point out that because of the temperatures that mechs can generate in lore, the pilots actually have to wear like vests and suits that connect into their mech that actually cycle liquid water and coolant over their bodies to stop them from dying from overheating inside of their cockpits, even on worlds that are covered in snow. And so if you let the mech go further beyond that, you can absolutely have a pilot that will roast themselves alive inside of their own cockpit. So that's a thing too, yes. At least you can likely watch the VOD after the stream, Viking. Yep, the VOD will always be up, even if you miss the live experience. Yep, it will always be up. And again, as always, if you have any questions and you're not on the Discord or anything else, pop a question in the comment section, and I usually jump through and I try and answer them when I do. So, okay, at this point, I think we're at the bottom, and it is now 3:22. So I think I've actually just spent like an hour and a half talking shit at the end of the stream. But that's cool. I like this. Probably should have had something else up here. Probably should have popped up a window to Sana so I can actually show you guys some of the stuff. Would be sad to cook in your mech before even getting close to going down. Well, it's happened. There's pilots in lore that have burns on their body and parts where their skin looks like it's been nearly liquefied, and it's because they've been in combat and they've been so dedicated to winning that they've overridden the thermal controls on their mech, and then they've driven their mech to the point where they were literally being roasted in the cockpit. They survived, but they had third-degree burns or some other kind of critical injuries as a result, and it's directly resulted in the temperature inside of the cockpit. There are stories in lore of the temperature in the cockpit getting hot enough that the plastics have begun to melt and drip inside of the cockpit, and the switches were beginning to glow, and the pilot was still trying to pilot the mech in combat. Liquid cooling liquid doesn't do much when it's boiling. Yep, there is a threshold for it, but that happens. Yeah, I guess you get to be crispy. Yeah, pretty much. This is the BattleTech universe has got some real dark points in it that people tend to ignore, but this is a thing. The most predominant part, if you look at the actual in-law suits for mech warriors, you'll notice a lot of them are damn near in their underwear. This is not a just some kind of 80s thing. They're basically in light thermals, and then most of their body, when they're actually strapped into the neck, is covered in a suit that basically consists of coolant tubes, and then their head is a neuro helmet that directly interfaces them to the mech, because the pilot has to think. Like the neuro helmet actually directly interfaces with the brain to operate certain aspects of the mech itself. But yeah, the traditional suit, if you look at it, it's got all these pipes and cables in it. That's what it all is. That's the coolant lines. According to law, most times a mech gets taken out is because the pilot passes out and dies because of overheating. The mech can handle the mech better than the fleshy pilot. Yeah, though it's the old line for the BattleTech universe. You know, kill the meat, save the metal. That's what it's all about. The pilot is always the weak point. If you can get rid of the pilot, the rest of the mech will generally survive everything and can be repaired. So, yeah, the meat is the weak point. And yeah, that's how a lot of pilots do get taken out. Alright guys, I am going to bring this one to a close now before it goes on. Hope you've enjoyed the stream. Thank you very much for watching. 3 hours and 13 minutes. Yeah, we're a little bit longer than normal, but hey, that's fine. We cleared out this planet. So the start of the next stream, which will probably be tomorrow night, we'll be rebuilding the Hunchback. And we'll be deciding whether or not we head our own way, or whether or not we actually take the free ride from the Cappies in order to be able to move a little bit further south towards St. Ives, which is where we're heading, because we want to be there for the rebellion and see whether or not any flashpoints pop up. We'll head down that way and we'll see what happens. So that stream will be tomorrow night. As I said, we'll start about 9:30, 10 o'clock my time. It'll depend on when the kids go to bed and what I'm doing with the wife or everything else. But it will be in the evening tomorrow. Anyways, guys, until then, hope you've enjoyed this one, and take care.